like that and push. You outboxed the fucking best boxer in the world for rounds. You beat him at his own game. Your game plan was perfect. Perfect. He nicked it just at the end. He nicked it at the end. He was flopping around. That's all it was. But that fight up until 10 was dead fucking level. You was outboxing the best boxer in the world. Just stop Rose, mate.
You were up,
Rose, like you come out of that with victory, mate. Like honestly, you know, if there was any doubters out there now, bro, there's fucking none now at all.
I think you were talking about the pandemic there. Have you changed, you think, as a boxer or as a person during it?
100%. Like when I first started boxing, my whole world just flipped on its head. Like I had to really step my game up and adapt to this new environment. And then, so imagine I'm upside down now and the whole world's moving at 100 miles an hour. So it's a bit of a whirlwind. And then with a pandemic, the whole world flipped on its head, which gave me a chance to now look up again. So I flipped on my head when I first started boxing. Then during the pandemic, where the world's flipped on its head, it's allowed me to resurface again. And I feel like in life, you always need to reset sometimes and go back to what the true meaning of what you're doing is, why you're doing it, reset with who you are, what your values are. And the pandemic's helped me do all that.
Right, if I was on the phone to the Chinese, local Chinese, it'd be egg fried rice, special fried rice, large, plain chow mein, shredded chicken chow mein, large, salt and chili king prawn, salt and chili chicken, kung po prawn, sweet and sour chicken balls, sweet and sour pork balls, shredded chili beef, beef in black bean sauce, mini pancake rolls, large pancake roll, curry sauce, 2 portions of prawn crackers. Bosh. On Saturday night, I'll be listening to Usyk versus Joshua, exclusively live on TalkSport, while I'm enjoying my Saturday night Chinese. Special fried rice, bosh. Special chow mein, bosh. Sweet and sour chicken balls, bosh. Sweet and sour chicken Hong Kong style, bosh. Salt and chili king prawn, bosh. Salt and chili chicken, bosh. Barbecue spare ribs, bosh. Roast pork Chinese style, bosh. Crispy aromatic duck, bosh. Chips, bosh. Prawn crackers, bosh. Curry sauce, bosh.
Yeah, bosh indeed. Righty ho. Sorry about that. I am out of it, but yeah, just one of them episodes, really, isn't it? Where I just, I can't really be asked with the boxing, but it is what it is. Ohara Davies is coming to the ring. Has he got the Undertaker music? He is. Ohara Davies comes to the ring. This man Ohara is sitting on the ring apron with his hands up, yeah? Just like the Undertaker. See, they are done already fucked up, yeah, in this arena. You're supposed to turn the lights off, yeah? And then when he puts his hands up, then you're supposed to bring the lights up and bring the lights on. So they're already doing Ohara Davies, yeah, dirty in Lewis Ritson's backyard. In front of, yeah, a crowd full of, what can I say? Probably got less than 150 people in the arena to watch this pay-per-view extravaganza, courtesy of Fight TV. As the old Ultratech saying goes, you could throw a hand grenade, yeah, right in the middle of this arena and you wouldn't have a single casualty, not a single visit to A&E. But who cares about crowd numbers? We care about fights, and this is a 50-50 fight. Actually, I will say one thing though on crowd numbers and tickets. At one point, Lewis Ritson, they were talking about this man selling out St James's Park. Press 1 if you know about that. We've only got about 39 people in here in a minute, but I'm about to send the word out on Twitter. But do you remember that? They were saying that Lewis Ritson was capable of selling out St James's Park. Well, fuck me. But looks like the days of Lewis Ritson and St James's Park are pretty fucking far away, yeah? By the looks of this fucking stadium, as Lewis Ritson walks to the arena in front of a crowd full of about 40 or 50 people. The music is louder than the crowd. You can truly hear the sound of the music echoing, yeah, over the seats in the arena. Everybody must be at Misfits right now. Where's everybody gone? Everybody must be watching that dreadful Misfits boxing between Astrid Wet and Keely Bunker, or whatever her name is. AJ Bunker and Astrid Wet. I have seen some footage of that is currently circulating around the internet, yeah, of Astrid Wet and AJ Bunker boxing on the Misfits card on the Zone, the home of YouTuber boxing, and it is as absolutely dreadful as you would imagine. Now, if you just excuse him off for una memento, I'm just going to quickly send the word out on Twitter. Who have you guys got winning this fight? I've got Ohara Davies. I'm just guessing. But I'm going to go over Ohara. I think Ohara's got a lot of power. Very, very heavy puncher. Very heavy puncher. Used to hear stories about him from the Matchroom gym. Used to hear he used to just knock out sparring partner after sparring partner. He used to just keep wheeling them in, innit? They were wheeling them in, man. Ohara Davies punches hard. I don't think people will understand. So I've got Ohara Davies in this fight, but I'm just guessing. Lewis Ritson got one of the best jabs in Britain, probably in Europe. Like, Lewis Ritson's jab is one of the best shots I've seen in boxing. It's a fantastic jab Ritson's got. And that jab, you know, it'll bust up anybody if he gets it on the end of it. But it is what it is. Lewis Ritson has miles on the clock. We all remember the famous night where an unbeaten Lewis Ritson stepped in the ring. I think it was for a European, was it? With Sergio Garcia. Another classic bit of matchroom mismatchmaking. And was beaten so badly in that fight, particularly to the ribs, he spent the next couple of days pissing blood. So there you go. Never quite been the same fighter since Lewis Ritson. But it is what it is. He shaved his head, he's dyed his beard, and he's in front of a crowd of about 20 to 25 people. Let me just send this word out on Twitter. As you can see, I'm not really prepared. One sec. I also want to talk about Conor Benn, but we'll do it at the end of this. Here we go. 1 second. Sorry, mate. I'm incapable of multitasking. I'll leave all that to Mrs. Ultra. Okay, right. Cityware says the tag team boxing was rather entertaining. Do you know what? To be honest with you, I haven't watched the Misfits card, but it doesn't surprise me, actually. I did have a feeling that the tag team boxing would be quite a hit and be quite entertaining. Like I said before, YouTube boxing is here to stay and possibly take over. Honestly, you get a few traditional boxing fans still complaining, whinging and whining on Twitter. But at the end of the day, I think the writing is on the wall. If we can't make the big fights in traditional boxing, then it is going to get overtaken by YouTube boxing pretty fucking soon. Starting with Fury versus Usyk, which it looks like this week we'll be announcing to you all won't be taking place. No inside information from myself, but I'm just telling you. Expected announcement this week that it ain't going to be Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk. Right, so it is what it is. Straight into the main event. GP Poker's going to Long Arm Ohara, UD in the awkward fight. One thing I will say about Ohara Davies is a lot of people seem to forget. In my opinion, when they fought on the Queensbury card, Ohara Davies beat Jack Catterall. I'm serious. I thought Ohara Davies beat Jack Catterall and was very, very hard done by with that decision. Very, very nip and tuck fight, not an entertaining fight. But for me, Ohara actually beat Jack Catterall when they fought. And we all know what Jack Catterall went on to go and do. Jack Catterall really should be the undisputed champion of the world. So the round's already started and we're about 2 minutes 50 into the first round. Ohara Davies is what he is, isn't he? He's incredibly strong. He's got incredibly, he's got a lot of power. But again, fundamentals was never his thing. When Ohara throws his right hand, just watch for his back foot. Oh, good uppercut. Good, lovely. Good right uppercut, left uppercut jab there from Ohara Davies. Now, Ohara Davies has a lot of power in that right hand, but if you look at the way Ohara throws it, you can see his head coming over his front foot. And we always talk about that on this channel, their head coming over the front foot. But if you see Ohara when he throws that right hand, he's literally completely and utterly off balance. Completely off balance. And if you watch his back foot, I don't know if he's still doing it, but when he throws that right hand, watch Ohara Davies' back foot when he throws the right hand, and you'll see his back foot come off the floor. Just press 1 if you can see that on your Fight TV right now. Just watch Ohara Davies' back foot when he throws that right hand. His back foot literally comes off the floor. Very, very Dimitri Andrade-esque. I mean, the kind of thing, to be honest, that I cannot believe that professional boxing coaches are taking 10% of this man's paycheck and they still can't teach him how to keep his back foot on the floor when he's throwing a right hand. This is a very, very interesting first round. Ohara's loading up on a shitload of shots. Lewis Ritson is peppered Ohara Davies a little bit with a jab earlier on. It's an interesting fight. Good jab from Ohara Davies. It's tip and talk at the minute, really. I mean, you can see Lewis Ritson for me, right? One thing I'll say about Ritson is Ritson walks himself into another right uppercut there Ritson walks himself into another uppercut, just to the point of the chin. But you can see here, what I like is I do like Ritson's shape. You know, we spoke about it when we spoke about the Liam Smith versus Eubank fight, where Liam Smith is not a very flashy fighter, right? But he's got a good tight guard. He's got a good tight guard. So I'm just looking at his fight. He's got a good tight guard. He's got solid fundamentals. Yeah, he's not got, you know, a particularly a flashy guard, a flashy defense. But like I said, he's got a good guard that covers the arms, covers the elbows, covers the ribs, and covers the head. And you see here so far in this first round here, for me, you know, Ritson looks a little bit more comfortable to me in this fight at the minute with the way this fight's going for me. And you can see there, Ohara for me, like I said, Ohara's not in any trouble, but Ohara's frequently off balance. Yeah, after he's throwing his shots. Frequently off balance after he's throwing his shots. And like I said before, can't counterpunch. You know? Can't counterpunch. And that's a big problem. Another good up jab there from Ohara. Ohara's having success down the middle with the uppercuts and up jabs. Right uppercut, left up jab. He's having a little bit of success there. You know, Ritson doesn't want to take too many of those. But that's something that I love to, you know, work with on Ohara Davies is balance, you know. It's a shame, isn't it? Because Ohara's heavy-handed, right? But if you're unbalanced when you're throwing your shots, if you're unbalanced when you're throwing your overhand right, if you're unbalanced when you're, you know, after you're missing your shots, then you can't counterpunch. So it is what it is. Harry Chan says Ohara had potential when he was younger, but never improved. I don't want to be harsh on Ohara. I have a feeling he might even be listening to this after the show. But I will say, like I said before, Ohara, it's when you watch Ohara box, it's a kind of like what could have been, couldn't it? What could have been? Because you see him do things like throws the right hand, back foot comes off the floor, head comes over his front foot, off balance. He almost falls off over his own shots. He's still not really feinting, is he, Ohara, behind his shots a lot, is he, Ohara? Still not really feinting behind the shots. He's loading up on shots, missing, taking himself off balance. And, you know, just, if you look at Ritson at the minute, Ritson shipped a lot of shots in that first round to me. Ritson's taken a lot of jabs, uppercuts, up jabs, yeah? But one thing about Ritson, and it's one thing that we're trying to learn in the gym at the moment is, right? Always being in position to be offensive and defensive, right? So always being in position to be on the front foot, but almost always being in a position to be able to counter effectively when you're on the back foot. And to me, because of Ohara Davies and his poor balance, he's never really in position, yeah, to counter there. As Ritson lands a nice straight right hand. And Ritson, you can see Ritson's game plan in a minute. Ritson's game plan is not to let Ohara dictate, and Ritson's game plan is to try and step into the fight and push Ohara back and get Ohara on the back foot. And like I said before, you know, is Ohara the best moving backwards? That was a very, very good jab right hand there from Ohara Davies. Can't question the man's power. Very, very good jab right hand from Ohara Davies. Nobody will be supplying anybody links to streams in the chat because that's not what we do in here. Because I don't want to get done. Lovely double jab from Ritson. Very, very much a give and take fight at the minute. Ritson is stepping into the pocket and trying to push Ohara Davies back and get Ohara moving backwards. Because let's face it, Ohara Davies isn't exactly the greatest counterpuncher in the world. His feet are very, very straight. He gets unbalanced. And so, like I said, I can definitely see the logic from Ritson getting on a front forward, getting on a front foot, you know, trying to Deontay Wilder Ohara Davies to a degree there. Ohara's got freakishly long arms. Freakishly long arms at the minute. Skyline is saying Ohara needs to put some combinations together. The thing is, Ohara's missing with that first shot. And when you're missing with the first shot, like I said before, he's frequently off balance. So like I said, when he throws his jab, all his weight goes into his front foot. Yeah? All his weight leads over to his front foot when he misses that jab because he's leaning forward. And so he doesn't really leave himself in position to land combination punches. So it is what it is. This is on Fight TV at the minute. We've got 1 minute 20 to go in the second round. It's a pick'em fight, really. Pick'em fight. No one's really separating themselves at the minute. Because Ritson's at home, you probably say the judges are leaning towards Ritson. But really, honestly, there's nothing significant going on at the minute there. But Ohara's loading up too much. You can see Ohara there. No feinting, loading up on everything. Haven't really seen a double jab from Ohara. As Ohara caught him there on the inside with a lovely little check left hook counter on the inside. Oh, that was the best shot of the fight from Ohara Davies there. Ohara Davies caught the left hook from Lewis Ritson, caught and shot with a lovely overhand right, which nailed Ritson square on the chin. Ritson's investing on the body, though, and landed a very good left hook on the inside on Ohara as well. But that was a good jab right hand there from Ohara. And a jab. I would say Ohara's nicking this round. That's the best shot of the fight so far. Ohara catching Karen again. Ohara catching the jab and returning fire with the overhand right. Good body shot by Ritson. Ritson investing in that left hook to the body. Ritson again investing in that left hook to the body on Ohara. Uppercut from Ritson. This fight has been fought very, very close quarters. Very, very entertaining fight. You can see here there's not a lot of setting up. The jabbing's gone to bits. Both of them are sitting inside now, close quarters. And they're both unloading with big shots. Hooks, uppercuts. Good jab at the end of the round from Ritson. I would go towards Ohara Davies for that round, to be honest. I thought Ohara landed the best punch of the round, but a few little concerns for me there. If you're an Ohara Davies fan there early on, there's a few little concerns there for me, like I said before. That Lewis Ritson left hook to the body is definitely a shot to watch for as this fight goes on. I think he might have hurt Ohara in the first round with a left hook. He hit him with some kind of body shot in the first round, and Ohara didn't quite like it. But he's trying to invest in that left hook to the body. Ohara's getting tagged too much with the jab from Ritson. It is what it is. Ohara's got incredibly long arms, but like I said before, is he maximising that reach? Is he maximising that range? I'm not sure he is. Let me turn the commentary down. Sorry, because I've got the commentary on and I've got this in my ears, and that's probably the reason why I sound like a muppet at the minute. So yeah, just having a look at it really. You know, for me, is Ohara making the most out of his reach? You know, keeping Ritson at the end of his jab. Is he fating Ritson? Is he making Ritson work to come in? Is he throwing that double jab? He's not really doing any of that, really. You know, Ohara seems to be letting Ritson walk his way into the pocket. And Ohara seems to be trying to catch and counter Ritson at the minute. That's what it seems to be to me. Ohara's content to sort of let Ritson walk his way into the pocket. And then when Ritson comes in with a jab or Ritson comes with a shot, Ohara's trying to catch and shoot with that right hand at the minute. But like I said before, Ohara's throwing his shots from a little bit too far out. There's a decent overhand right from Ohara to start the round. Probably caught on gloves. That's a lovely little move from Ohara there. Ritson threw the jab. Ohara slipped the jab. Yeah, Ohara slipped the jab and came with the uppercut. But again, just one thing to watch out for with Ohara Davies here. So that's a lovely little right hand jab from Ohara. Lovely little 2-1 from Ohara. But if you watch when Ohara's throwing that overhand right hook and he's missing that right hook, can you guys see? Press 1 if you've seen this. Have you seen when Ritson's slipping under Ohara's right hook, yeah, and making him miss? Ohara's taking himself off balance, and then Ritson's coming back with a left hook to the body. Press 1 if you can see this. That's exactly what Josh Taylor was doing to Ohara Davies in their fight. Ohara Davies was loading up on big shots, taking himself off balance. He was going for the big overhand right hook. Ritson rolling underneath it. Ohara missing, taking himself off balance, and then the counter left hook to the body was coming his way. And that's something that Josh Taylor used against him a lot in their fight. And I wonder if Ritson's been looking at tapes of that. 1 minute 45 to go in this round. I'm leaning towards Ohara in this fight. Ohara's smiling in the ring. He definitely looks the more comfortable of the two. Excuse me. Massive tonsil stone just came up there. You have to excuse me for that. Yeah. That was a lovely little double jab to the body, right hand to the head by Ritson. A couple of those landed, but that's a solid jab from Ohara. I'll be honest with you. Ohara, to me, at this minute in time, looks like, yeah, he's the more solid. It looks like Ritson's feeling the power a bit. You can see there, Ohara, he's telegraphing that overhand right. He's really telegraphing it. But when it does land, it's a heavy shot there from Ohara again. Left hook from Ohara. Some of these right hands are just piercing through the guard from Ohara Davies. Oh, there's a big uppercut. Ohara's been excellent on that shot all night on Ritson's jab. So Ohara, he slips the Ritson jab to the outside and he throws the right uppercut through the middle. That's the 3rd time. But that was a big one. And Ritson was hurt there. You can see Ritson felt that there. But can Ohara keep this pace up? Because he's not economical. Like, he loads up and he winds up on all the shots. He's goading Ritson in there. He's talking to him again. Ohara went for the slip uppercut of Ritson's jab and he missed. Ohara there tried to go to the body. That's good to see from Ohara. Switch it up. Don't keep headhunting. It looks like heavy... Oh, another right hand from Ohara. It's looking like heavy work for Ritson. But again, it's a 12-round fight. And Ohara is loading up on absolutely every shot. He's loading up on every shot. And Ritson, like I said before, we saw this in the Beefy Smith versus Eubank fight. He's just economical. You know, you get these economical fighters, yeah? Like I said, Ritson's not doing much movement. He's not telegraphing his shots. He's slipping really crisply there. Ohara came in with left hooks, right hooks. Ritson's just slipping, rolling underneath the shots. He doesn't waste movement. Does that make sense? Like, Ritson doesn't waste a lot of movement. His movement's very crisp. His jab is very crisp. His defense is very compact. Ohara's having a lot more success at the minute, but he's having to work for it. He's telegraphing his shots, lots of loopy shots, lots of overhand shots. And like I said before, we'll see if Ohara can keep up this pace. But that was a big Ohara round. This fight is on Fight TV. Nobody please put any streams in the links to streams in the chat. If you just give it with me for 20 seconds, I'm just going to go get some Sprite. 1 sec. Sorry about that. There we go. Right. Sorry about that, guys. Right. We are into the beginning of... We're in round 4. Press 7 if you're actually watching this fight with me. Is anybody actually watching this fight? Everybody's asking for a stream. And obviously, you know, I'm watching it on Fight TV. Cough, cough, cough. But it's press 7. Is anybody actually watching this fight? We've got 110 in here. If anybody wants to hit the hit the like button, please feel free to do so, because it looks like I'm actually doing commentary for people who can't watch this fight. Normally, this is just a watch along. Does that make sense? Like, we're watching the fight together. I'm not actually supposed to be doing full on commentary. But let me know if anybody's actually watching the fight here. Right. 2 minutes 16 in the 4th round. And again, Ohara is having a lot of success with that right hand. That jab right hand from Ohara Davies over the top. And he's just breaking through the guard of Ritson. And he does seem to be, you know, it does seem like Ritson's feeling the power of Ohara Davies. But he's pushing on. That was a lovely piece of work there from Lewis Ritson there. Close the distance on Ohara Davies. Ohara tried to roll underneath a shot. Ritson threw a double right hook. And the second right hook was right on the spot. So Ritson continues to invest in the body. You know, Ohara, you can see, he is just headhunting. Loading up on a lot of shots. Again, for me, Ohara Davies is winning this fight. But it's a 12-round fight. And I do question what's going to happen if this fight continues and Ritson continues to weather this storm. Because I'm just saying, Ritson is preparing for the long haul. I like what he's doing. Like I said before, Ritson isn't flashy, but the jab is nice and compact. The guard is nice and compact. There's not a lot of wasted movement. Like I said before, there's not a lot of wasted movement. Ohara tonight, is constantly, and it looks like he's been going to slow down. Ohara's been loading up on shots all night. He's been missing wildly as well as landing good shots all night. And it's just not sustainable over a 12-round period. And if you look at the work Ritson's doing, when he is getting the work off, he is getting hit with some big shots, Ritson, but he's doing some nice things. Ohara will throw a big telegraph shot. Ritson will do a tight slip, and then he'll throw a tight left hook and a tight right hook. And again, bear in mind what you saw. That's a lovely another little right hook to the body from Ritson again. Ritson off a slip there. Nice uppercut there. Up jab from Ohara Davies. But Ritson, for me, Ritson's starting to try and push Ohara back, taking 2 big jabs. But Ritson, that was a big up jab from Ohara. But he is beginning to gas there. That up jab from Ohara Davies. Oh, it's lovely. Lovely double uppercut from Ohara Davies with his lead hand there. He went up jab uppercut. This is turning into an absolute warfest now. Simple as that. Ritson Ohara catch and counter. Ritson went for the left hook to the body. Ohara caught it and hit him with a right hook right at the top of the head. Ritson absolutely felt that, but Ritson is putting the pressure on. And at the minute, Ritson's best defense is his offense. That's what he's doing. He's testing Ohara's heart. He's saying, look, hit me with as much as what you want. I don't think you've got the heart to do 12 at this pace. And you see from Ritson's best offense is his defense, and he keeps pressing forward no matter what. Ritson, again, for me, is not winning this fight. We'll check the scores on Twitter in just a second. For me, Ohara's hitting him with the big shots. But can Ohara keep this pace up? Because Ritson is continuously applying the pressure. And again, it's just them little slips that you need to watch for from Ritson. Ohara will throw the big overhand right. Ritson will slip underneath left hook. Or Ritson will come up close and he'll throw a double right hook to the body. Ritson's investing in the body there. If you're looking at Ohara Davies, the best shots Ohara Davies has had tonight has been catches and counters off Ritson's bodywork. Ritson kind of trying to come up close and fire that left hook to the body. Ohara catching and then returning fire and landing clean with the right hand. So like I said before, both of these aren't really fighting how I really expected them. Ohara's basically made a fuck up of keeping it from distance. This fight is way too close quarters for me. Like, right now, if you're saying whose fight is this, it's a Ritson type of fight because the fight's happened in a close quarters. Ohara really isn't able to make the most out of those long arms. But again, for me, he is winning this fight. I mean, if you just have a look online quickly as we start, I think round 5. Look, you can see here some excellent counter work from Ohara Davies in the 4th round. He continues to set the pace of the fight. Lewis Ritson continues to have success with body shots, but it's not slowing Ohara down. Now, there's a little bit of change of tactic from Ohara. Ohara's actually started getting behind his jab and just throwing that prodding jab. There you go. So that's your first sign that Ohara's realised that he can't continue to fight at this pace. There's Ohara there. Walked Lewis Ritson onto a right hand. Ritson tried to step in behind his jab. Ohara took a step back and countered him with the right hand. That's how Ohara needs to fight. Oh, that was again Ohara again with a slip right uppercut. Just missed, but landed the left hook. But Ohara needs to stay behind that jab and keep it long. He's been terrible at managing distance. Ritson's been able to walk in for free. Oh, counter left hook from Ohara Davies. Straight right hand down the middle from Davies. Ritson eats it up and keeps coming forward. Bloody hell. Unbelievable. Let's have a look here. Good matchup. Hard to say who wins. Both made a lot of money over the years. Harvey Brown saying, oh, Ohara Davies. Has he landed another uppercut? Look like a right uppercut might have landed there from Ohara. Like I said, he's definitely winning this fight. It's just a question of the pace. You know, he's allowing Ritson to get in through the jab off scot-free. Ritson, every time Ritson tries to go forward, there should be a jab in Ritson's face. Jab, double jab, there should be feints. There should be something to try and offset Lewis Ritson getting to the inside. But Ohara's not doing enough. Ritson's getting to the inside for free. And he's smothering Ohara. And that's the problem at the minute. So I just need to see a little bit more. You know, Ohara, you've got long arms for a reason. You need to use them more. For me, he's fighting a little bit too much at close quarters, but he is winning this fight. But the point is the pace of the fight isn't very good for him. Lewis Ritson there with a right hook to the body on the inside, on the hip. And you can see that's why Ritson's continuing to plough forward. That's a nice little right hook there from Ritson. Ohara laughs at him. And if Ohara lands a left uppercut of his own, Ritson there up on the inside goes for a right hook to the body and Ohara catches it. Ohara's catching and shooting. That's the one good thing. Talk about adjustments from Ohara Davies. Ohara is beginning to look rather ragged though. 53 minutes to go. If you can see Ohara's beginning to lose his shape there. You can see, like, his shape's really beginning to fall apart. He's really starting to fall off balance with some of these shots. Again, the pace is very, very high. And if I was in Ohara Davies' corner, I would have to say, you know, the pace for me is all wrong, you know. We have to be making fights a lot more easy than this. I know, obviously, it's easier said than done. But we have to find a way to make Ritson work harder to get onto the inside. He can't just walk in for free, like what he's doing at the minute. Ritson there, staying in the pocket there, and Ritson managed to slip under a 1-2-3 from Ohara Davies. And that's what Ritson's doing. Ritson's walking in behind a high guard, walking himself into range, and he's trying to put the pressure on Ohara at the minute. To be fair to Ohara, like I said before, even though he's not... Oh, Michael will get too close, sorry. Even though Ohara's not doing a very, very good job of keeping distance, one thing Ohara is doing when they're getting close is Ohara's getting very low and changing levels. And that's something that's actually very good for Ohara Davies. So I will say that. Eugene says he feels like a 1930s boxing fan. Is that because you're listening to it but you can't see it? Let me just say one thing. That's the one good thing I would say about Ohara Davies, right? When you talk about adjustments from Ohara Davies, maybe versus the Josh Taylor fight, okay? Let me turn the gain down on my mic a little bit. If I turn the gain down on my mic, right? Maybe it'll be a little bit better. Let me know. Let me know if the mic's okay, guys. But one thing I will say from Ohara is he's done a terrible job of managing the distance in this fight, right? He's let Ritson basically walk in behind his own jab for free. But one thing that Ohara is doing very, very nicely is two things. One, he's doing a very, very good job of catching and countering. And a lot of that's coming because he's doing a good job of changing levels, tucking his elbows in and protecting the body when Ritson does get in close. So when Ritson does get in close, Ohara's not staying tall. Which is something which is a big mistake that I make in my boxing at the minute. Shout out to Prince Patel, who gave me the best piece of advice I've had on my boxing recently is, Ultra, you stand too tall on the inside. Makes sense. You stand too tall on the inside. And that's something that I've seen Ohara Davies do, maybe in his fight against Josh Taylor. But when Ritson is getting close tonight, Ohara's changing levels. He's fighting small and he's tucking those elbows in. And that's why when Ritson is throwing those little left hooks to the body, Ohara's able to catch, shoot and return fire with the right hand. So watch out for that. Ohara is staying small, doing a terrible job of keeping distance. But when the distance does get breached, he's doing a much better job of staying small and actually moving his head around and taking angles around shots. So there are some improvements that I can see from Ohara here. Again, he could be so much more, Ohara, as a fighter. If he sorted his balance out and stopped falling over his shots, he could be so much more. But here we are. You know, we're in a leisure centre in the middle of Newcastle in front of 10 people, a blind man and Stevie Wonder. It is what it is. Right, 2 minutes 10 seconds to go. I think we're in round 6. Again, for me, this is an Ohara Davies fight. It's an Ohara Davies round. You know, and I think Ritson, for me, at the minute, is banking on Ohara Davies gassing and Ritson being able to land something big, particularly to the body later on in the fight. But I think Ritson was caught to the body with a left hook. He's sucking in the air. He was hurt. It was a left hook to the body from Ohara Davies. And Ritson, you could see him suck the air in. He's backing up to the ropes. Howard Foster's now jumped in and told Ohara Davies, yeah, because Ohara Davies went straight back to the left hook to the body. Ritson's in trouble there. He takes a right hook to the head. He's in trouble. Yeah, he's hurt. Ritson's on unsteady legs. Ohara needs to cut the ring off now. He needs to cut the ring off. But yeah, you can see Ritson. Ritson's tucking that right elbow in. He's been hurt badly. And that's how he was hurt and stopped in his fight with Sergio Garcia. Ohara with a beautiful move. Because Ohara can see Ritson's trying to cover that left hook to the body. Oh, big overhand right from Ohara. The referee's got to be watching this. But it's the body. Ritson's really hurt to the body. That's what it is. It was that left hook to the body that's done something. Another left hook to the body from Ohara. And as a result, Ritson's giving up the head. And Ohara come up with a lovely right uppercut. And that's what Ohara's doing. Do you know if Ohara started throwing feints before his shots? Again, press one if you agree with me. You know, Ohara's got his man hurt. You know, if you just feint to the body, then come to the head. And Ohara's not feinting. He's low. There you go, Ohara. There you go. He feinted to the body, came up with an uppercut, just missed it. If Ohara feints, he can get him out of there. Ritson's hurt. Ritson's really hurt. And you can see Ritson's body reactions now. You can see Ritson's just protecting that. You see he's taking another big breath in, Ritson. He's taking another big breath. I mean, listen. Oh, Ohara went again with the lead left hook to the body and then finished up with the right hand to the head. That's lovely. Now, this is what I'm saying about Ohara Davies. If Ohara Davies had that little bit of skill about it where he could just get on the inside and, you know, tap, and then come up with the right hand to the head. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Just tap to the head. Ohara's loading up on that left hook to the body and Ritson can see it coming. That's why Ritson's still in this fight. Ritson's still unsteady. He's in big trouble. Ritson is still unsteady. He's never recovered from that body shot. He has never recovered from that body shot at all. You can see by his demeanour. Good right uppercut on the inside, but Ohara fights straight back. Good uppercut from Ritson. Ohara fights straight back, but you can see from Ritson's demeanour. Yeah, Ritson putting his trunks down at the end of that round. You can see the way he's sitting down. Caught him to the body, saying in the corner it was a beautiful left hook from Ohara Davies. A beautiful shot from Ohara, but again, you know, you say about Ohara, like I said before, he had Ritson hurt, he had Ritson in trouble, and he went and he telegraphed most of the shots after that. You know, when Ohara backed him up into the ropes, can you just tap around the body and then set up a big shot to the head? Soft, hard, mix up the speeds, change the speeds, not everything has to be the same pace. And that's what, you know, Ohara's crudeness is what allowed Ritson to survive in that round, because Ohara was just loading up on left hook after left hook, and Ritson was just about able to survive that round against a cleverer fighter who knows how to just have a peek, tap, have a feel, soft, hard, mix up the speeds. Ritson wouldn't have been able to see them shots coming. I hope you enjoyed my commentary here since you guys have got no TV. This is a very, very good fight to watch. I'm not supposed to be doing colour commentary, really. You guys are supposed to be able to watch this, but it is what it is. We are going into... Do you know... This Fight TV is so bad, they're not even telling me the rounds. So you guys are asking me what rounds we're going into. Do you know I'm watching on Fight TV? They're not even telling me what round. I believe it's 7 or 8. I'm going to find out. I'm sorry. And it doesn't even say the round on the screen. All I can tell you is we're 2 minutes 45 in. Yeah, so we're into the 7th round, okay? We're into the 7th round. 2 minutes 40 left in round 7 is where we are. Fight TV aren't even showing the round on the screen. I'm not even playing with you. It's an absolute joke. So there you go, Eugene Sirota. And it's Ohara Davies on the front foot. I'm not sure if he's broken Ritson's ribs or if he's done something. But to me, Lewis Ritson's never been the same again after that left hook to the body in round 6. And he's still favouring that side. And he's still protecting that side. And you can see that Ritson's giving up the head now. And that's why Ohara's landing that jab. But he's giving it up. Oh, that's a lovely little right uppercut from Ohara Davies there. Lovely right uppercut from Ohara Davies. That was beautiful work. Like I said, one thing I will say about Ohara Davies tonight, right? He's telegraphing his shots. Distance is terrible. But one thing I like from Ohara is he changes levels. So what's happening is the following. When Ohara's walking into range against Ritson, he's changing levels. So he's coming low. Because he's coming low, Ritson's assuming it's going to be the left hook to the body. And then Ohara's coming up. Does that make sense? Press 1 if you get me. So Ohara's coming in low. Ritson thinks it's going to be a shot to the body again. And then Ohara's coming up with the up right hand, the up uppercut, the up jab. And that's what's getting Ritson. Ritson's never been the same. Ritson has never been the same since that left hook to the body. It's not all over, Harvey. Ritson's he's still there, but he's got to recover from that body shot because he's in big trouble. And you can see at the minute, Ritson's in survival mode. You know, you can see, like, he's not offered any offense in the last couple of rounds. Ohara's got him against the ropes. Oh, short right hand. Ritson's in big trouble. Can Ohara set them up? Ritson's trying to have one last salvo. This is on the verge of getting stopped because at some point, right, if Ritson doesn't show any serious fight back, his corner are going to have to pull him out, you know, because he's not hurt, but he hasn't shown that he can get himself out of trouble. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Like, there's not a lot of fight back. This has been one-way traffic for the last 2 rounds. Ohara Davies with a short uppercut just lands on the forehead of Ritson. This has been one-way traffic now for the last 2 rounds. And if you're in Ritson's corner, like I said before, Ritson's not badly hurt. Oh, that was a good left uppercut to the body from Ohara and right hand. But again, it's one-way traffic. And again, it's a world title eliminator. You could leave Ritson in there, right? Because it's a world title eliminator. You could leave him in there to the finish. But I'm just saying, this is the kind of fight that will take time off Ritson's career possibly. Because he's in there And he is getting pounded on. That's just a fact of life. He's not offering much. This is all Ohara Davies right now. With 13 seconds to go in the 7th round. This is all Ohara Davies right now. Lewis Ritson's offered a few jabs here or there, but he hasn't landed anything of any significance in the last 2 rounds. And that's a spearing jab from Ohara Davies to finish the round. Like I said, if you're an Ohara Davies fan there, it's the same old mistakes, really. Thank you, Recall Boxing. I appreciate Recall Boxing. Thank you very much. If you're an Ohara Davies fan, let me just say, and then we'll get on to if you're a Lewis Ritson fan. If you're an Ohara Davies fan at the minute, yeah, what are we seeing? We're basically seeing the same old Ohara Davies. But again, like I said before, he's got that experience from the Josh Taylor fight, yeah? Pacing himself a little bit better perhaps than he did in the Josh Taylor fight. You've got that. Ohara went 12 rounds with Jack Catterall, and I think he beat Jack Catterall when he went 12 rounds. But what I'm seeing from Ohara Davies, the biggest takeaway is Ohara's inside game. Ohara's inside game is kind of crude, but at the same time, he's doing some very good work on the inside. He's up close in the pocket with Ritson. He's not staying up tall on the inside and giving up his body. For those of you who like to box, yeah, like Recall Boxing or like Albanian Boxer or like me, you guys who box will know, yeah, if you do like me and stay up tall on the inside, you expose the ribs and you expose the body. And that's how a lot of outside fighters get caught up on the inside, when we stand too tall on the inside. When Ritson does, or whenever the fight does get close, Ohara's always done a very, very good job of widening that stance, yeah, putting a nice big bend in his knees, settling down, yeah, and changing levels. And you can see there Ohara is throwing uppercuts to the body from a low stance. So he's changing levels, he's going low, and he's throwing uppercuts to the body. And I think that's what's throwing Ritson. Ritson's been hurt to the body, but because Ohara's changing them levels, Ohara's starting low and then coming up. Ritson's not sure if the shots are coming to the body or the head, and Ohara's continuing to pound away at him. Ohara there with a right hook to the body there that time. The uppercut's on for Ohara Davies at this point, by the way. I mean, that might be the shot that really ends this fight, because Ritson's so concerned about the body when Ohara comes up close and just changes levels on the inside. He's exclusively sort of, you can see Ritson tucking up, squared up. See, Ritson in the minute on the inside is squared up and tucked up. That's how much he's been hurt to the body at the minute, Ritson. So if you can imagine that, anytime Ritson's coming up close, he's tucked up and he's completely squared up. And that's because of all the body work. Can you see, guys? Press 1 if you can see if you're watching there. Can you see, anytime Ohara comes up on the inside, Ritson's squared up and the guard is almost exclusively covering that body and he's giving up the head. So it's just a question of now, can Ohara dummy to the body and come up to the head? The right uppercut is right there for Ohara. And it's a double left hook to the body from Ohara, and that looked horrible. It was the left hook hit Ritson's elbow, but the left hook to the head hit Ritson flush. And Ritson continuing to take punishment here. Ritson's trying to fight away, but Ohara is mauling him. It's a right hook to the body from Ohara. Ritson comes back with a right hook to the body of his own, and he's pushing Ohara back. We'll see what happens. I still think this is one big last salvo, but we'll see. But Ohara, I tell you, good jab, right hand from Ritson. Ritson's now smothering all of Ohara's work, so Ohara needs to give himself a little bit of distance and then just hit Ritson off the break. Because Ohara's work started to be smothered. Ritson now is Ritson's literally putting his head on Ohara's shoulder, if that makes sense, protecting his body. So Ritson's now completely smothering Ohara Davies. Completely smothering him. Sorry, there's a little bit of break in the action. Ritson's shoulder is over Ohara's shoulder. And what he's done is he's put his left shoulder on Ohara's right shoulder, which means that his left side is covered. He's smothering Ohara, he's covering his left side, and he's trying to throw shots. I don't know, you guys really need to be seeing this, but that's the adjustment that Ritson's now making. Ritson's pinning his left shoulder on Ohara's right shoulder, and he's smothering him, and he's trying to get 3 right hands off by protecting his left side. Better round from Ritson. You wouldn't pull Ritson out off this round. Some good shots landed from Ritson in this round, and Ohara's smiling. Ohara there with a left hook, right hand hit the back of the head there. Ritson having a little bit more success. He's absolutely smothering Ohara's work. And Ohara needs to think about the uppercut. Oh, that left hook to the body from Ohara. Oh, it missed, but the right hand from Ohara didn't. Ohara needs to start thinking about the uppercut, because as Ritson's smothering him, look at Ritson's head. It's coming right down there. Oh, I think Ohara landed it. I think he landed it at the end of the round. Right uppercut from Ohara Davies. I think he landed there right at the end of the round. That now needs to be the shot from Ohara, but that was a little smart change of tactics from Ritson. Ritson absolutely now smothering Ohara Davies, shoulder to shoulder, and Ritson's pinning his left shoulder on Ohara's right shoulder, bringing his head over Ohara Davies' shoulder, completely smothering him, and then firing 3 right hands and then coming back with left hooks over the top. Clever work, clever body position from Ritson, because I think he's still compromised to the left side of the body. But again, you're looking at the replay and you see that vicious double left hook that I called that landing from Ohara. And for me, the heavy shots are still coming in from Ohara. They'll probably give that round to Ritson, but to be honest, for me, it was an Ohara round. Ohara hurt him at the end of the round. 2 big overhand rights landing flush on the side of the head. For me, it's another Ohara round, really. If you're Ohara Davies right now, you need to be thinking about the right uppercut, because Ritson is absolutely smothering his own work. But as Ritson's smothering, like I said before, his head is falling forwards. Yeah? His head is falling forwards. Ritson's trying to smother Ohara, but as he's smothering, his head is falling forwards. He's almost coming in head first now. So Ohara now needs to start thinking about uppercuts as Ritson continues to smother. Ohara with a left hook to the body. One more of these left hooks lands from Ohara, and this fight's going to be called off. I'm telling you that for a fact. Ohara with a right uppercut. There you go. Flush on the chin. Ritson comes back with his own uppercut. Ritson smothering. Offense is Ritson's best defense in this fight. Good right hook to the body from Ritson, but Ohara landing another shot. I think it was another right uppercut from Ohara. They're up on the inside. Ritson's absolutely smothering an Ohara. Again, Ritson's using that left shoulder. Ritson's got his left shoulder up against Ohara's right arm. Ohara spotted it. I think Ohara listens to Ultratech Sports because he landed another right uppercut and just missed another. So Ohara's coaches obviously listen to this show and are passing on the tips, yeah, midway through. But like I said before, it is what it is. Dave Harley, so we're in round 9. Right hand to the body by Ohara. Ritson returns with a right hand of his own. It's hard to see if Ritson's shots are landing. Ritson's got a hell of a lot of heart. I tell you, never question Ritson's heart. Ohara just misses him with a right uppercut. Left hook from Ohara Davies. This is shoulder to shoulder action on the inside now. The two of them, it's another right uppercut from Ohara Davies. The two of them are squared up on the inside. Like I said before, right uppercut is the shot for Ohara. Maybe you can double it up. Right uppercut to the body, right uppercut to the head. But that's the shot from Ohara. Ritson is just testing Ohara's heart. This is just a gut check for Ohara Davies. This all this fight is. Ritson's just doing a gut check on Ohara Davies. How much have you got? Oh, left hook, right hand from Ohara. I think the left hook, the right hand might have got through. Ritson looks gassed up, yeah? 1 minute 30 to go. Left hook from Ohara. Left hook to the body. Oh, did that land? Left hook, right hand again. Ritson's in big trouble. Jesus Christ. Oh, that's a big left hook to the body from Ohara. Ritson's crouching low. Ritson comes up with a double jab. Ohara with a right hook to the body. Ritson's been hurt. Right hand to the head. Oh my lord, Ritson. Ritson's backed up against the ropes. He comes off him. He's in big trouble again. It's those right and left hooks to the body. Ritson's gone into survival mode. Ohara with a straight right hand right on the button. There it was. A massive left hook. This fight is done. Massive left hook. There's no way Ritson's coming back from that from Ohara. It's over. Don't even count. That was a huge shot. Ritson's in agony on the floor. It's over. Ohara Davies has proved all the doubters wrong. That is a knockout. That is a knockout. And Ohara Davies has answered all the critics. Let me give a 10-bell salute to Ohara Davies for that. He has proven the critics wrong. They said he had no heart. Let me tell you right now. Lewis Ritson stepped up, was it to 140 pounds? And he broke down Robbie Davies Jr. That was a massive, massive test of character and a test of heart for Ohara Davies. And he came through with flying colours because Ohara did not fancy down that fight. He stood in the pocket and he fought like he outfought Ritson. And Ohara Davies is heavy-handed. I've always known that because we've had scouts in the gym telling us stories about Ohara knocking out sparring partners. But you can't question Ohara Davies' heart tonight. And let me tell you one thing. If you did watch that on Fight TV, you got your money's worth because that was a hell of a fight. It was a great fight to watch. That was an action-packed fight. That was well worth the watch there. I have to say. Maybe not worth 99. Let me tell you, Lewis Ritson is still on the floor. That's how bad that shot was. The medics are in the ring and Ritson is still on the floor. That body shot that Ritson took in round 6 from Ohara, that's done some lasting damage. He was never, ever, ever the same after that left hook to the body in round 6. And I did say in commentary, if Ohara can land one more clean left hook to the body, there's no way he's coming back. And it was beautiful from Ohara. It was off a right hand. He threw the right hand, landed flush. And off the right hand, he threw the left hook to the body, landed flush. It was a beautiful shot. You will be seeing that shot replayed time and time again. It was a beautiful, beautiful shot from Ohara Davies. And I have to say, Ritson is still on the floor. So those people out there talking about, Ohara's a quitter, Ohara's got no power, this and that. Let me tell you, they must be. I'm just gonna say, I don't want to celebrate too much because the medics are still in there. That's it from Rob Tebbett. The fight is over. Ohara Davies stops Lewis Ritson. A thunderous left hook to the body. Excellent performance from Davies. For me, like I said before, from Ohara Davies, you know, going into this fight, I would never have told him to fight like that. Never. I've told him to stick behind the jab. But actually, do you know what? Maybe I was wrong about Ohara all along, because there are just some times in the boxing where you can't avoid a fight. Press 1 if you know what I'm talking about. If you've been in the boxing gym and had a spar. There's some times where, as you guys know, no matter how good your footwork is, no matter how quick you are, yeah, no matter how skilled you are, eventually you're gonna get dragged into a fight. Eventually you're gonna get dragged into close quarters. And I think tonight I got my tactics wrong. You know, maybe Ohara not keeping it long, and Ohara just, you know, sitting in a pocket and catching and shooting and countering the way he did. He broke Ritson down, and maybe I got it. Maybe I got it wrong. Maybe that was the right tactics, because Ohara didn't try and fancy down this one like he did against Jack Catterall, staying on the outside, trying to win the battle of the jabs. Lewis Ritson pushed forward, and Ohara Davies let him in on the inside. Big improvements on the catching and countering from Ohara Davies. That was the key to tonight. His catching and countering on the inside was excellent. He was constantly, you could see Ritson was looking for that left hook to the body time and time again. And when Ritson was going left hook to the body, Ohara was catching, and then he was going overhand right counter, coming back with his own left hook to the body. So fair play to Ohara. Yeah, like I said before, he could be so much more than what he is, but listen, that, you have to say, is the end of Lewis Ritson at top level, unfortunately. You have to say that is the end of Lewis Ritson at top level. Ohara's in the corner getting hugged by Lee Eaton. I just want to get a visual on Lewis Ritson. I don't know if Ohara's crying in the ring. He seems quite emotional. He seems alright. He's a good lad, is Ohara Davies. I've got a lot of time for him. So Lee Eaton's in the corner of Ohara, and they're not celebrating because Ritson is still on the floor. So if you're just wondering what I'm just seeing there, no one's celebrating in the ring because the paramedics came in the ring and they're just checking over Ritson. So I'm trying not to go a little bit too over the top. I hope you guys enjoyed my commentary for this one. Again, I wasn't supposed to be actually doing colour commentary, but because some of you guys said you couldn't see it, I decided to go a little bit more than usual. Just bear with me. I'm going to turn the sound on. I just want to see. I think Ritson might be on his feet. No, Ritson is still not on his feet, but he's just got up. Let me tell you something about how bad that shot was. Lewis Ritson now is they're just dragging him onto the stool. That's how bad that shot was. And he's being clapped by the crowd. Ritson only now, and he can't stand up. Ritson could not stand up, and he's on the stool. That shot was mental. It was that shot in round 6, probably broke a rib or something, I reckon. Probably broke a rib. And like I said before, I did call it round 6, round 7, you know. If this continues, you have to question, you know, his father's in his corner. Do you pull him out, or do you let him continue taking punishment? You know, it was a weird one. You know, the shots weren't. The shots weren't like Deontay Wilder. Ritson was never out on his feet, but it was just a beating. Do you know what I mean? It was just a beating, and we're now seeing the replay from Ohara Davies. This is Ohara Davies at the end of. Is this the finish? These are Ohara Davies. They're showing his fight-ending highlights. And Ritson at the end was almost exclusively trying to block that left hook to the body and was giving up the head. And he was shipping all kinds of right hands to the head. I mean, boxing is such. Oh, that shot from Ohara was perfect. Oh my lord. That left hook from Ohara was fucking perfect off the right hand. Oh my gosh. Jesus. Oh my lord. You need to go and get up on your Twitter, that Ohara Davies. Oh, Jesus. Gone. No chance. No chance. He'd already took one big shot there. There was no chance. He's up. Ritson's up. Sorry about that. Ritson's up. Ritson's up. That's good to see, you know. Fuck. That was horrendous. Ohara's crying in the ring. No joke. Ohara's crying. Howard Foster's in the ring. Here comes the official announcement. Ohara's crying in the ring. Listen, like I said before, they called him a quitter. They said he had no heart. Let me tell you something. Ohara Davies is crying. He deserves to have a good cry after that, because he is absolutely... Listen, he may never be a world champion, but that was it for Ohara, wasn't it? And I'm really happy for the guy, you know. I'm really happy for him. And he's shown respect in the ring, and he's shown humility in the ring, because you know what? He spotted Ritson out. That was a big knockout of Ritson there to the body. That was a sweet body shot, and he never overdid it. He never did nothing. He went back to his corner, Ohara, and he waited for Ritson to get up and waited for the paramedics to get out of the ring. So he didn't all load it up. He could have loaded it up there, because that was a hell of a shot. That was a hell of a shot. So There you go. It's a shame not many more people got to see that fight because, like I said before, you know, you get people saying once a quitter, always a quitter, all this kind of stuff. I'm not a believer in that. Do you believe in that? Once a quitter, always a quitter. I'm not a believer in that. You know, listen, they're levels and there's no shame in losing to Josh Taylor. There's just absolutely no shame in losing to a fighter of the magnitude of Josh Taylor. I never understood why Ohara Davies got so much stick for that. You know, he got in at a very, very early stage in his career with Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor is a very, very decorated amateur. Should never have really been going anywhere near Josh Taylor when they fought, you know. And, you know, if you look at Ohara Davies, you know, his resume. Let me say Ohara's ringside. 1 second. Let me listen to Ohara. He's now ringside being interviewed. They're asking him what his emotions are. He's saying joy. Hold on. He's crying because he thinks he's close to his dream of becoming a world champion because he is going to get his shot now, isn't he? He's choking back tears. He's saying as long as he keeps his mind in the right place and stays focused, he'll be fine. And he says early on in his boxing career, he says he wasn't focused. But he says he's now a lot older, a lot wiser. No disrespect to Ohara, but you definitely need to sort out that footwork, you know, because let's just put things into perspective, right? There's a big difference between Lewis Ritson and, you know, elite world level. Let's just be honest here. So, like I said before, I'd like to see Ohara have a couple more fights before he gets thrown straight into the deep end, do you know what I mean? Because he does have power, yeah? But like I said before, he's off balance 90% of the time he's throwing punches. But anyway, let me continue to listen to this post-fight interview. Right, so he's saying that he realised that Ritson was open to the body. He's saying that Ritson's basically a warrior because... Yeah, he's basically saying Ritson's a warrior because, you know, Ritson took a hell of a lot of punishment. So for me, like I said, oh God, thoughts on Ohara versus Rolly. Rolly can punch, man. Rolly Romero can really punch, man. That's all I can tell you. I haven't really studied them both, but Rolly Romero can really hit. Like, I thought Ohara Davies was very, very wary of Rolly's power when they fought. Do you guys agree with that? When Ohara Davies fought Rolly, I felt so when Gervonta Davis fought Rolly Romero, for me, Rolly could feel the shots. Gervonta could feel the shots. Yeah, you could see he was respectful of the shots. Do you know what I mean? Wasn't taking liberties in there. I think everybody knows that Rolly Romero can punch, you know. And like I said before, I have to be honest with you. Like, I do like Ohara Davies. I would like to see him win a world title. But I have to be honest, the footwork is a real problem. It's going to be a real problem against somebody who can hurt him in the ring. Because like I said, doing the stuff he was doing tonight, he was missing wildly. He was throwing himself off balance with shots. And you can see tonight that Ritson was trying to employ some of the tactics that Josh Taylor employed in the fight against Ohara Davies. If you look at when Josh Taylor fought Ohara Davies, Josh Taylor was lovely and compact, yeah? And when Ohara was loading up early on with them big overhand rights, Taylor would just roll underneath, left hook to the body. Roll underneath, left right hook to the body. Nice and compact work, yeah? And so against those kind of fighters who can hurt him, he's going to find himself in trouble. But at the same time, I don't want to take any credit away from him. I'd love to see him win a world title. I'm not sure he will. But for the moment, for me, he's proved a lot of doubters wrong. That fight, ironically, was a very good fight. There are a lot of fights that have been available this year on BT Sport and Sky. And they weren't as good to watch as this. Let's go to the comments. See what they're saying about Ohara. A good performance, albeit against the Lewis Ritson who's seen better days. It will be interesting to see where Ohara goes from here. Love him or hate him, he's clearly grafting in the gym, so deserves opportunity to test himself at the highest level. Sorry, if you guys have got any comments, I will go through them. Sorry, I'm still in a bit of commentary mode. Right, we can talk. So there you go. Let's just go through the comments on the internet. Listen, it was and we can talk about Conor Benn in a minute as well. Quickly want to talk about Conor Benn. Tyson Fury and Usyk, that's not happening, I think, and I think that's probably going to be announced this week. No inside information, just my feelings on things, so if you want to talk about that, you can as well. But yeah, let's just go through some of the online reaction. Ohara Davies deserved that win over Lewis Ritson. Looks to have come back stronger this time. Good luck to him. Oh, someone's nearly showing the fight there. I don't want to get done by Fight TV. Sam Jones says, sad to see Ritson on the deck like that. He's a lovely man. Happy for Ohara. Great performance. Will Jones worth a mention. He's done a great job with him. Okay, not sure about that. Let's continue to go through here. I want to show this. I want to show this left hook, but I can't. Ohara stops Ritson in 9. Blah blah blah. That's just look at that. That I can show you. That's Ritson after the fight. I mean, Jesus! If you just look at his face, That was some shot. And it, like I said before, it was that shot on top of the shot he hit him in round 6. I watched that fight tonight, and I'm so glad I've never had a fight, you know, because it's just too fucking dangerous, man. It is absolutely too dangerous. Dench says, Ohara was leaning in and eating right hooks before he started throwing and feinting to the body. He was driving me mad. I don't think Ohara's at that level yet. Solid shot to the body by Ohara finishes Ritson. Davies is now mandatory for the WBA world title. Decent performance by Davies, but I can't see him winning a world title. Hope Ritson is okay. Never like to see a guy stay down like that. Huge body shot to finish that. Good performance from Ohara. Feel like Ritson suits him perfectly though. Please never call Ritson the Geordie Golovkin again. But Ohara Davies is pretty good. Hey, I tell you what, I don't want to take the piss out of Lewis Ritson because he's a lovely guy, obviously, Ritson. Do you know what I mean? But what do you think? It has been some kind of fall from grace from Ritson, hasn't it? Because if you remember a couple of years ago, when Matchroom were at their peak and still on Sky, right? And Ritson was on Matchroom cards. Do you remember when Ritson's fights were being watched by Alan Shearer? Does anybody remember that? Press 1. I'll try to see if I can get up on the screen for you. Do you remember when Ritson was going to sell out St James's Park? And they started bringing Alan, and I always felt a bit uncomfortable about that because Alan Shearer doesn't really watch boxing, and Alan Shearer never really knew who Lewis Ritson was. But they brought in Alan Shearer as a marketing prop. Look, you see it here on the screen. Look, Alan Shearer meets Lewis Ritson. I always felt uncomfortable at this because it's not like Shearer ever knew Ritson or that Shearer was ever interested in boxing. It was a bit cynical, really. It was a bit of a cynical attempt to try and get Lewis Ritson some sort of extra fans down the Newcastle area. And this is what some of these promoters try and do. You know, we saw Queensbury try and do it with Zach Parker and Derby County Football Club. They try and get the fighter involved with the football club to try and get the football fans to turn up in the arena and watch the fight. So look, you remember this one? It was Patera, not Sergio Garcia. It was Patera. So Ritson versus Patera. Alan Shearer is set to be ringside for Lewis Ritson's European title night in Newcastle. And this was pretty much the end of Lewis Ritson's career right here, to be honest. You know, Ritson was beaten up in this fight and never really recovered from being stopped in this fight. And you got to feel sorry for him. Alan Shearer turning up. Did Alan Shearer ever turn up to any one of Lewis Ritson's fights after this? You know, we heard about Ritson was going to be the Geordie Golovkin, world champion, world title defense at St James's Park. And at the end, it just didn't happen, did it? It just didn't happen. Look at this. The fans are incredible up in Newcastle. If he keeps on winning, then a fight at St James's Park could happen as Lewis dreams of. It just shows you about boxing, doesn't it? It shows you what boxing is. Boxing's a bunch of idiots that are blowing smoke up your ass. And then when you get beat, all these guys disappear, innit? Tells you a lot about the sport of boxing, doesn't it? A couple of years ago, they were blowing smoke up Ritson's ass, yeah? And peddling out peddling out Alan Shearer right next to him, weren't they? Peddling out Alan Shearer next to him, saying that he was going to be selling out at St James's Park. And then obviously a couple of fucking years later, you can see in it, we're now talking about retirement for... When was this article read? When this article was released, yeah, in 2018, right? 2018, right? On the 11th of October 2018, so 4 years, right? If I'd have told you on the 11th of October 2018, and I said, listen, in 4 years' time, Lewis Ritson be pretty much out of boxing and getting stopped by Ohara Davies, you'd have said no chance. Do you remember when Lewis Ritson was on that run where he was knocking out everybody at British level? Do you remember that? When nobody at British level could go anywhere near the distance with Ritson. Nobody. Do you remember that? When nobody could go the distance with Ritson. And they were saying, this guy is definitely world level. If I had said to you, 3-4 years later, Lewis Ritson will be pretty much out of the sport, you'd have said no chance. You'd have said no chance, wouldn't you? That's how boxing works, isn't it? There's no more Alan Shearers in there ringside now watching Lewis Ritson. Lewis Ritson turned up in the arena. I swear there was probably no more than 200 people in that arena tonight. You know, watching the end of Lewis Ritson. Boxing's a lonely sport, mate. People are with you on the way up and they desert you on the way down, mate. I'll tell you what. Shuna Medieval says, I feel sorry for Ritson. Wonder what Hearn promised him. They were talking about him fighting Taylor. Do you remember that? Yeah! Him, Ritson and Taylor. Oh my lord. I remember that. Do you remember that? Ritson and Josh Taylor. Fucking hell. Let me tell you something. I'm not friends with Scotty Cardle, but I do have a direct line to Scott Cardle, right? And I always believe that, and I could be wrong, but Scotty Cardle really fucked himself that night when he fought Ritson, because he was the first one, when he Cardle, to really put a dent in Ritson. Cardle came out all guns blazing, yeah, in a 2-round shootout, and he got knocked out, Cardle, right? And in my opinion, he came in with the wrong tactics, and I've told him that before, right? And he came in a 2-round shootout, and I think Cardle's head was gone because he thought, look, I can't go 12 with this guy, so I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna go, I'm just gonna go out. A bit like what Joe Smith Jr. did when he got in with Beterbiev. Sometimes, when some guys they get in the ring and their head goes, when they get in the ring and they don't believe they can win the fight. What you'll see sometimes is they'll just try and punch themselves out of the fight. So what they'll try and do is they'll say, look, I'm not going to win this fight, so I'm going to go out all guns blazing. If you watch Joe Smith Jr. versus Arthur Beterbiev, that's another classic example of a guy who never believed he could win. So he's like, look, I'm going to put a dent in this guy very, very quickly before I get taken out. And that's what Scotty Cardle did against Ritson. And I've always said, Cardle, I think, got a little bit carried away and bought into the hype too much. I should message Scotty Cardle directly and ask him, looking back on how Lewis Ritson's career's ended up, do you think maybe you should have taken your time a little bit more? Because Cardle hurt him. Cardle hurt him in that second round and put a bit of a dent in him. And that was the first night, really, with this Ritson lad. They're talking about St. James's Park and they're talking about a Josh Taylor, but I'm not convinced. And in the end, no disrespect to Ritson, but in the end, Ritson never really even got to European level. Would you guys say that's unfair? If you think my comments are unfair, press 7. If you think my comments are fair, press 8. But it just shows you what boxing is, mate. These arse lickers lick your arse on the way up, and they spit in your face on the way down. So it's a shame for Ritson. I hope he's made money from the sport. Look, I mean, maybe I'm not saying he has to retire, but you would say that is the end of Ritson at top level. Would you agree with me on that? I would say for me, that's the end of Ritson at top level. Let's see what Big Dan Raphael says. We all know that Big Dan Raphael is the absolute know-it-all master on all things boxing. He says, Ohara Davies bruising body shot KO of Lewis Ritson in round 9. He battered Ritson to the body in a WBA 140 eliminator. Ritson is still down several minutes after the fight, getting oxygen. There you go. Big Dan Raphael's going into a big world title fight, isn't he? Down... I'll say no more, but I hear rumours that Big Dan Raphael's got a world title fight of his own going on tonight. Let's check the Ring Magazine ratings at 140 and see who Ohara Davies is going to be going up against. Again, is he going to be fighting the winner of Rolly, right? Am I right? I don't really follow ratings and stuff. I just go to the gym, right? But isn't Rolly's got a WBA title shot? Am I right in that, guys? Rolly's got the title shot. So I guess if Rolly wins it, it will be Ohara and Rolly, right? Let me check the Ring Magazine ratings quickly and see where we are. Maybe in a minute we'll talk about a little bit of YouTube boxing. Does anybody also want to talk about a bit about Conor, Benn? If you do, feel free to do so. 1 second, sorry. Just trying to get up these. Oh, sorry, you guys can't see what's going on. Now you can. Sorry, I'm just trying to find the Ring Magazine ratings. Just trying to find the Ring Mag ratings. Okay, here we go. Ratings, Ring Magazine. Let's see what's going on. Yeah, I know. Dan Raphael's got his own little world title fight coming up. It is what it is. Right. Junior welterweight, £140. Let's see. Okay, so we're having a look here. Josh Taylor's the man, obviously. Cough, cough, cough. Do you see Ohara Davies ever beating Josh Taylor? No, I do not. Regis Prograis, I'd pick Regis Prograis. Jose Ramirez, you pick Jose Ramirez. Jack Catterall, you pick Jack Catterall. This guy's meant to be dangerous. I haven't really seen him properly yet. This Subarel Matias. And the rest of these I haven't seen. I've seen Jose Cepeda years ago, obviously. Not years ago. I've seen Jose Cepeda bits and bobs a couple of times. He knocked out the Puerto Rican prospect. What's his name? The one who got memed because his brother was crying ringside when Cepeda brutally knocked him out. You know what I'm talking about. He knocked out that highly rated Puerto Rican prospect. You've got Gary Russell's brother in there. You've got Tiafimo in there. I mean, look. How do you think Ohara Davies shapes up, yeah, against this Ring Magazine top 10? For me, like I said before, I don't want to be... That's it. Jose Vargas. That's the one. Jose Vargas, yeah. No disrespect. I'm just saying that was a bit of a grudge match, wasn't it? And like I said before, it was what it was. What do you guys think? For me, this tells me that, like I said before, I know Ohara's the mandatory, but for me, it's all about now, can we get some fights for him in the meantime now? How many fights? Because for me, like I said, he needs a little bit more seasoning before you can put him in a world title fight. Do you think that's a fair comment? Let me know. Yes or no. But for me, that's it. Yeah, he knocked out Barancic as well. Yeah. Cepeda knocked out Barancic too. Yeah, exactly. So, it is what it is. Here he is. Ultra, I have seen skeletons. They do not gain muscle like in your thumbnail. Unless you tell me it was gained by eating eggs. In that case, I will believe you. Here he is. The man himself is here. Pony's here. Yeah, right. Let me run you guys through some stuff since Tony's here. So, Tony, if you want to come on, on Fight Week for Anthony Joshua versus Jose Ramirez, Anthony Joshua versus Jermaine Franklin. Tony, if you want to come on and have your own show for that, you're welcome to. So let me know about that, Tony, on Fight Week. If you want your own show, basically, you can talk to the people, do whatever. I think you're one of the only people here who's giving Jermaine Franklin a good chance to win. So, if you want to pop on for that, Tony, let me know during Fight Week. For those of you who are fans of one Mr. Chris Andre will be appearing back on this channel on Fight Week to do the honours for Anthony Joshua versus Jermaine Franklin. So if you're one of those people who like Chris Andre boxing, if you're into your technical breakdowns and things like that, Chris Andre Boxing will be back on this channel to do the Anthony Joshua versus Jermaine Franklin preview. There is the Chris Andre. I'm sure you guys all know it, but there is the link to Chris Andre's channel. Chris has told me that he'll be showing up on Fight Week. Hopefully as well, we can also get Big Darryl in for Fight Week and some of the other regulars like Jason Walker coming in and doing their own bits and bobs as well. So just to let you know, we have got some schedules that are programming that is coming up in the works. Yeah, if people would like to do that. Right. Do we need to quickly talk about chicken eggs? Conor Benn will be doing an interview with Piers Morgan. I think he's already done the interview with Piers Morgan. So Conor Benn's interview with Piers Morgan will be shown imminently. I'm trying to figure out where it will be shown. Look, here it is. I'll leave this here and I'll let Twitter do the talking for me. So this is a Piers Morgan exclusive. After 2 failed drugs tests and his career hanging by a thread, boxing star Conor Benn breaks his silence for his first TV interview. It was raw, emotional, shocking and combative. I'm actually planning on doing a live reaction to this Conor Benn Piers Morgan interview. Yeah, that's it. Den says, believing Bruce all over it. Absolutely. Believing Bruce will be all over it, won't he? Believing fucking Bruce. Oh, seeing Conor's eyes, he's definitely innocent. It is what it is, yeah. So, listen, I'm thinking of going live at the same time. What do you guys think about that? Would you guys be interested in that or not? Maybe I should go to afterwards. But I was actually thinking about going live at the same time as this interview and actually doing a live reaction. Same way we do live reactions to fights. But I was thinking about doing a live reaction to this Conor Benn interview. But listen, I'm not expecting too much. For a start, Conor Benn's moustache needs drug testing, doesn't he? Because is that moustache real or is that part of his hair transplant? Because Conor Benn had a beard transplant, didn't he? So someone asked him, like, that moustache you got there, is that a natural moustache or did you get that from artificial means as well? But anyway, look, like I said before, for me, if you want my honest opinion on this interview, listen, Conor Benn's free to interview with whoever he wants, right? If he wants to interview with Piers Morgan, he can. For me, I think, as far as I'm concerned, the only person that Conor Benn needs to be in an interview with is the British Boxing Board of Control in UCAD. Yeah, they've been asking for this 270-page document for the last Lord knows how long, and they haven't received it. And apparently, the rumours are the following: the reason why they haven't received it is because apparently, and this is, let me just quickly say this about how crooked this whole situation is, right? Let me just tell you how crooked this whole freaking scenario is. What appears to be happening is the following, right? What appears to be happening is that Conor Benn and his team appear to be having one set of conversations with the WBC. So they appear to be saying one thing with the WBC and they appear to be saying something completely different to everybody else. So let me tell you what appears to be happening, right? So the WBC in their statement, they said that Conor Benn accused VADA of contaminating his tests, right? That's what the WBC said. The WBC said that Conor Benn accused VADA of contaminating his tests. We didn't accept that, but we accepted an explanation around high consumption of eggs, right? Do you guys remember that, right? That's what the WBC said. If you don't believe me, I'll get the statement up. The WBC said specifically that Conor Benn made an argument that there was contamination, right, of his VADA test. The WBC specifically said they consulted experts and they did not accept that explanation, but they later explained an explanation, all right, around eggs. All right, around high consumption of eggs causing a positive test in clomiphene. This is what Conor said. Conor Benn then turned around in a statement earlier this week, right? And he then turned his back on the WBC. He said, however, I feel like the WBC statement did a disservice to my defence.
which was based upon a comprehensive scientific review of the testing procedures, which set out a number of reasons why we believe the results were completely unreliable and proved beyond any reasonable doubt that I am innocent. The WBC, listen to this, he actually says in this statement that it was the WBC that came up with the out for him about eggs. He's saying that in my 270-page document and in my conversations with the WBC, I never mentioned eggs. That's what Conor Benn's saying. He said, I never mentioned eggs. He's saying it was the WBC who mentioned eggs. Look, so here's what I can say. In my defense to the WBC and a 270-page report provided to them, at no point did I indicate that I failed any VADA tests because of contaminated eggs. That's what he says. So at no point in my defense to the WBC and the 270-page report provided to them did I indicate that I failed any VADA tests because of contaminated eggs. So what's going on here is the following. According to Conor Benn in his own words, the WBC have come up. The WBC have come up with this eggs outage, right? For Conor Benn in an attempt to get him off the hook. That's according to what Conor Benn's saying. Can I ask you a question? If you're a professional athlete and you want to get let back into the WBC rankings and you send them a 270-page document and that 270-page document says the tests were contaminated, yeah? VADA contaminated my tests, right? The WBC come back and say, we're not accepting that. We're not accepting that because we don't believe that's correct. We stand by VADA. So instead, we're just going to put it down to the fact that you may have been eating a lot of eggs. My question would be this. If Conor Benn is turning around and saying that the thing that WBC, he doesn't agree with what he doesn't agree basically with the explanation that the WBC provided for the reason he's back in the rankings, then why is he saying that the WBC have cleared him? Does that make any sense? Press 1 if you're with me, press 2 if you don't. Does that make sense? Because on one half, he's saying the WBC have cleared him. That's what he's saying. He's saying no holes in the truth, being proven innocent. That's what he's on the record of saying. He's on the record of saying, yeah, that the WBC have cleared him and have proven that, you know, blah, blah, blah. But he's disagreeing with the outcome. It's bizarre. 1 minute he said the WBC are clearing him, but he disagrees with the outcome and he disagrees with the reason why they cleared him. The whole thing is an absolute mess. But like I said before, this is designed to be a mess. That's what you guys need to understand. The reason why this whole process is confusing is because the lawyers and other people, hint, 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 want this process to be as confusing, yeah, and they want to muddy the waters as much as possible. That's the whole point. And that's what you've got now with the WBC allegedly, quote unquote, clearing him, but there's still an investigation going on with the British Boxing Board of Control and UKAD. He's got this 270-page document which he's refusing. They're refusing flat out to send. And let me just quickly say this. The reason why it looks like, and this is my opinion, just to quickly say, and then we'll get off Conor Benn. The reason why it looks like he's refusing to hand this document over to the British Boxing Board of Control is because it's not going to get him off the hook. Because the British Boxing Board of Control, UKAD, have a strict liability rule, which is you are responsible for what's in his system. So it doesn't look like whatever's in that 270-page document, I don't think that him and his team feel is going to be enough to sway UKAD and to sway the British Boxing Board of Control, yeah, on to rule over their strict liability rule and just say, look, Conor, at the end of the day, what's in your system is what's in your system. So that's it. So anyway, I don't know, but it is what it is. And I think that's the reason why the British Boxing Board of Control have not received this document yet. But it is, we would all love to see it. We'd all love to see what's in it. But Conor Benn will be doing an interview with Piers Morgan. I just think it's an absolute disaster. And like I said before, he will be fighting in Abu Dhabi. And you've heard that now. You know, talk about him fighting Manny Pacquiao. He will be fighting in the Middle East going forward. Why is that? Because he can't fight in Britain. Can't fight in Britain under the British Boxing Board of Control, can he? So that's where he'll be fighting going forward. He'll be fighting in the Middle East, yeah, for the near future. And you know the WBC, as far as I'm aware, you know UKAD and the British Boxing Board of Control, as far as I'm aware, they've actually asked the WBC to pass them this 270-page document so they can actually see what the evidence is, and nobody will provide it to them. So like I said before, just bear that in mind. When you hear people criticising the British Boxing Board of Control for being slow to act, yeah? When you hear people like Sauerland, yeah, and Eddie Hearn say, the board knew for months, you have to understand, the board need to go through a process. And the board haven't been allowed to go through this process. I'm not saying the board are off scot clear. I'm not saying there's no dodginess going on with the board. But the board have to go through a process. But the board haven't been able to complete or go through their process or finish their process. Does that make sense? I suspect part of that process is asking the fighter for an explanation and getting that explanation from the fighter. And that's where it's stalling. Because you've got a fighter who's essentially... You've got a fighter's team who appear to be... According to reports, this is just my opinion. According to reports, what you've got is a fighter's team who are ignoring requests in an ongoing investigation. Do you know what I mean? There's an ongoing investigation. The British Boxing Board of Control are trying to conduct an investigation. And it looks like at the minute they are not able to complete their investigation. It looks like they have never been able to complete their investigation because it seems like they've been met with roadblock after roadblock after roadblock at every turn. It seems like they've been lawyers on the phone threatening to sue them allegedly. Lawyers on the phone telling them they can't investigate because this is not a UCAD test, so it's got nothing to do with the British Boxing Board of Control. Does that make sense? They have come up against roadblock after roadblock. So, like I said, I am not saying that they are not to blame for some of this, right? But I'm saying, just remember that when you hear the likes of Sauerland and all these people, Eddie Hearn, coming on TV saying the board haven't done anything for months. I believe the reason why the board haven't done anything is because they haven't been able to do anything. Because every time they try to do something, i.e., can we please have an explanation to why you, when you were a license holder with the British Boxing Board of Control, had 2 failed tests in X amount of months. Can someone please explain to us why this happened? Do you have a defence? And and it looking like at the minute that there's a refusal to provide that from one sort. So listen, Conor Benn will be fighting again. He'll be fighting again in the Middle East. He'll be fighting again in Abu Dhabi. To be honest, like I said, I just think he looks ridiculous in this picture. And it is what it is. Going forward, I don't know how you guys feel about it. He'll be on Piers Morgan. And it is what it is. We'll see how it goes. And eventually it is what it is. Listen, I think he should be allowed to come back to boxing. Tyson Fury failed a test, he's boxing. Jerome Miller failed multiple tests, he came back to boxing. So Conor Benn, regardless, shouldn't be banned for life, right? But the way this whole thing's been carried out has been a disgrace. Ohara Davies really did beat up Lewis Ritson and broke him down and got him out of there with one of the best body shot finishes that you see this year, to be honest. Now, it was a pretty devastating shot from Ohara Davies. So, Ohara Davies won this fight. I won this fight conclusively. Right. What do you guys think about Fury and Usyk? Let me tell you something. When it comes out that Fury ain't fighting Usyk, you won't be finding me on this channel. I'm disappearing. I'm absolutely disappearing. I am disappearing when this happens. Fury and Usyk, boy. I just can't figure out. Who is Fury going to fight if he don't fight Usyk? That's all I'm saying. Who is he going to fight? The Sun have released an article. Let's see. Everybody's favourite newspaper. Seems like they're misquoting Frank Warren in this article. Let's have a look. Yeah, so he didn't say that. Okay, fine. So yeah, they're misquoting Frank Warren. But what do you guys think? Abe Blacks is saying he'll fight Joyce Stringer. How can he fight Joyce? Joyce is fighting Zhang. So Joyce ain't going to be able to fight on April 29th. Chevin is saying it's going to have to be Joseph Parker or... Bro, if Tyson Fury fights Manuel Charr, not even I can defend that. I'm serious about that, by the way. I'm deadly serious about that. I'm 100% serious about that. If he fights Manuel Charr, that's just undefendable. That is absolutely undefendable. If the WBC wanted to strip him at that point, I'd be up for it. Charr, come on, man. That's unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. Ruiz is really the only acceptable name, isn't it? Arnold the Cobra Gurgard. Why not? I mean, the only acceptable name is Ruiz, really, isn't it? Chuck said, one would have thought the afterglow of Tommy versus Jake Paul would have spurred Fury and Usyk to get it across the line. Wilder or Chisora 4. Fucking hell. Tell you something. That Chisora fight, we all gave that a pass on the basis that he needed to get out and fight and that we were going to get Usyk next. I mean, like I said before, I don't know. If they can't get this Usyk... I mean, do you know what? All I'll say is this. In closing, look. Why does Fury have to fight April 29th? Why? To me, it's stupid, isn't it? Where are all these fucking deadlines coming from? Where are all these stupid deadlines coming from? All these stupid deadlines are coming from... all these stupid deadlines are coming from nowhere, man. To me, they should make it, I would like to see, them give up this stupid April the 29th date and push it back to some. I don't know. I just don't want to see Fury fight bollocks again. I'm just not in the mood for it. I don't know how you feel about that. We're getting to the point now where there aren't really that many fights left. Do you know what I mean? There aren't really that many big fights left for him at all. Someone's saying Martin Bacole. Fucking hell. Well, we're getting to that point, aren't we? John McDermott trilogy. I'm interested. If Queensberry can't make the Usyk fight, I'm interested to see who they're going to drum up. The only other thing is, will Queensberry send in Daniel Dubois, aka the crash test dummy, in some kind of last attempt to take something out of Usyk before they fight? That's gonna be super interesting, super interesting. Otto Wallin rematch. Well, they did say Otto Wallin beat him, didn't they? They did say that Otto Wallin beat him, so it is what it is. I'm just thinking, just give us a name before we go. If Fury don't fight Usyk, honestly, what names do you think they're going to pull out of the hat? I don't know any names they can pull out, Other than Andy Ruiz, I can't think of any names other than Andy Ruiz that they can pull out that are even remotely acceptable. Even remotely acceptable. I can't think of anything. It's so bad, surely they can't let him fight on the 29th of April. It can't be Wallin, surely not. Wallin. David Price. Well, we're about 10 years too late, aren't we, on Price? Years ago, yeah. Even up to 3, 4, 5 years ago. We would have dealt with that. Oh, but Caballero. Fuck off. Surely not. Mate, that's atrocious, Fury versus Caballero. Fury versus Char, though, would take the biscuit, I have to say, innit? What do you think? That's the worst one. Fury versus Char. That would be the absolute piss take of all piss takes, boy. If you ever saw that fight, it's so bad, even I'd have to come on and just completely rip that to pieces, man. Fury versus Char would be something, wouldn't it? There's a rumour, innit, that Char's got a contract. Char a while ago said he had a contract with Queensberry to fight Joyce or Dubois. He had a written contract, a written agreement. Do you remember that? When Char said he had a written agreement with Frank Warren that he'd be fighting one of Dubois or Joyce. I remember I said at the time, what kind of fucking contract is that? You don't know your opponent. You get a contract to fight either or. Charles Martin, do you know what? That name did come up, I heard that name somewhere. Charles Martin and Fury. Would you be up for that, guys? Charles Martin and Fury. Chevin, he ain't going to fight Joseph Parker. There's no way. The two of them are friends. They're not going to fight each other. It's just a waste of time. I can almost guarantee we won't fight Joseph Parker. That won't happen. Fury and Charles Martin. I'll be up for that. I'll be up for Fury and Charles Martin. Would you guys be? Absolutely. I'll tell you what. Before we go. Do you want to see something interesting? For those people who keep banging on about ticket sales. You know those people who are obsessed with ticket sales and pay-per-view sales? I'd be up for LD Phoenix. Definitely. Charles Martin and Tyson Fury. I'll buy it on pay-per-view. If they do a face-to-face beforehand and Charles Martin comes up, and if he sings some trap records off his, what's he got? Gorgeous Villain Records. Well, you know about Charles Martin, he makes some good drill music, Gorgeous Villain Records. Where's that one with him freestyling? I can never find it. I'll see if I can find it. I'll put it up. Lady, do you want to ride in my Mercedes? That's them Charles Martin bars, man. He heavy, bro. He got some beats, though, Charles Martin. It's not this one. I'm trying to find it, though. Charles Martin's got some serious beats. Let me see if I can find it. It's all old shit, man. They got all these old beats from years ago, man. Trying to find this dude old beats. On Instagram, he used to come up with some good beats, man. Anyway. Let me show you something. Anthony Joshua. I don't really care about ticket sales, alright? I'm just putting this up there to cause a bit of trouble, right? But this is Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua hasn't sold out against Jermaine Franklin. Now, I couldn't believe what I was seeing online. I couldn't believe what I was seeing online. I'm trying to find the tweet, actually. I'm going to go to my own Twitter page and find it. I'm going to show you a screenshot of Anthony Joshua, of the seats that are available. I literally could not believe what I was seeing. Now, they're saying that the tickets are really expensive, and that's the cause of this. I don't care about ticket sales. Ticket sales doesn't make Anthony Joshua any less of a fighter to me, okay? But I'm just saying, you know, for years and years and years, Anthony Joshua fans have been sort of hanging their hat on this. He's the biggest draw. He's the biggest ticket seller, which already tells you all you need to know in it. Like, when somebody starts resorting to, oh, but he sells more tickets than A, B, and C, who gives a fuck, innit? It's all about who's the better fighter, innit? But when they're now resorting to who's the bigger draw, who's the bigger ticket seller, you kind of wouldn't know they're kind of lost in it. It's just one of the fucking lamest arguments that a fighting person can make, right? But if you check this out, I saw this tweet in particular. Anthony Joshua fights in a month. Here is a screenshot from the O2 website showing the number of tickets available. You can sit anywhere that is blue, right? You can sit anywhere that's blue. So up until last week, the blue seats are the seats that are currently available for Anthony Joshua versus Jermaine Franklin at the O2 Arena. Can you guys see that? Press 1 if you can see that. I was shocked when I saw it. I actually couldn't believe it. Anthony Joshua, 4 weeks out from fight night. First time he's fought in Britain in what? Actually, no, he fought Usyk in Britain, but that is Anthony Joshua. Those are the tickets that are available. This is not up to date. This is like last week. So as of last week, at the end of last week, if you wanted to buy a ticket for Anthony Joshua versus Jermaine Franklin at the O2 Arena, you could have got any one of the seats or areas in blue. The sections in blue. You could have picked seats in any one of the sections in blue. Can you guys see that? That is absolutely shocking. That is absolutely shocking. So, like I said before, ticket sales isn't really my thing. I'm interested in how Anthony Joshua fights. I'm not interested in how many tickets Anthony Joshua sells, right? I'm interested in how Anthony Joshua fights. I'm not interested in how many pay-per-view buys, right? But I'm just saying, one of the biggest things that we hear about Anthony Joshua from some people, isn't it, is about how many tickets he sells and stuff. This is rather shocking. Now, some people are saying, like I said, the ticket prices are a bit too high. And that's why this is happening. Matchroom obviously no longer have that relationship with StubHub, right? So what used to happen before, where the tickets used to sell out in 30 seconds and then they used to be available on StubHub, right? That is no longer happening because Matchroom no longer have a partnership with StubHub, right? Again, certain people... Do you know on this channel, we start talking about things on this channel and then other people start taking it and talking about it, but they don't really understand what they're talking about. Remember like the Dillian White arbitration thing? I saw other people start trying to run with it. Oh, the Dillian White arbitration case doesn't exist. And there are other people that try to run with it, but they didn't really understand what they were running with. When we spoke about Matchroom and StubHub, what we spoke about was that Matchroom had an actual relationship with StubHub. They were like sponsored by StubHub. Does that make sense? It wasn't like ticket touts were just buying the tickets and the tickets were ending up with StubHub. Matchroom had a fucking relationship with StubHub, right? Their shows were being sponsored by StubHub, and then the tickets were ending up on there, and that's what caused the discontent. If that makes sense, that's what it was. It was that Matchroom had a partnership with StubHub, and then all of a sudden tickets were selling out in 30 seconds and ending up on StubHub, at like fucking 6-7 times the price. That's what the problem was, right? That's what the problem was. So when people talk about other promotions, oh, so-and-so's promoters' tickets have ended up on StubHub. Look, that will happen with any show, innit? Because ticket touts will buy a ticket, put it up, whatever. But Matchroom had a relationship with StubHub. They were literally sponsored by StubHub, and that's where the problem came from. So again, people talk about these things, but you have to question what they're on about. Damien P saying, nah, to be fair, if you go to the site and click the blue seats, there's literally few and far between. So are you telling me now it's Damien P in the last couple of days, it's got better then? I can't be bothered to check, but if you go to the site and click the blue seats, there's literally few and far between spaces left. Okay, you let me know. When was this taken? This was done on... Maybe it's a bit old. Let's have a look. 1st of March, Damien P. So this was taken 3 days ago. Go into the live site. Do I have to? Alright, let's do it. I suppose I brought it up, so I shouldn't I? I hate this ticket sales shit. Let's have a look. You guys have to tell me what to do, okay? Because I don't buy tickets to big boxing events. So I don't have a clue what I'm talking about. So you guys have to tell me where to go. So I'll do this, but you guys have to tell me what to do. Because I'm clueless. Right, can we see it then, yeah? Then just like go on the live site. So I'm here, right? I'm at the O2 Arena. Yeah? Anthony Joshua versus Jermaine Franklin. So what do I go? Buy tickets, right? Select our great ticket options. Press on buy tickets. I work in IT, you know. What's the difference between all this? Premium seating, accessible tickets, premium seating. Do I just select tickets here? AXS Premium, American Advantage Express. Where do I click? Do I just go here? Tickets. Let's click on this. Tickets. Notice, resale will not be available for this event. Alright, let's have a look. Right. How do I know what's available and what's not available at the minute? Best available, any price? Or what do you want me to do? I don't know what I'm doing. I never go to these kind of events, man. How do I zoom into seats? Oh, here we go. Hold on. Oh, no, I don't want premium seating. I don't want premium seating. Yeah, it's still blue, but I don't think that's the reason why. Hold on. Best available. So, look. Floor seated. Level 4A, level 4B. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay. My bad. Press continue? For what? Oh, just click the blue seats. Okay, my bad. Release these tickets. Okay. No, I can't click them. It's a fucking image. Just click the blue seats. Can't click them. If anybody knows, let me know. I'm fucking clueless on this kind of thing. Somebody tell me and we'll have a good look. Or if somebody can get to them, let me know. Find out what seats are available and what not. All I can do is I say, look, 6 tickets max, 1 regular ticket, best available. Boxing Barry saying ultra, press continue. Okay. There you go, Barry. I've pressed continue. Tell me. Someone can dial in for me if you want and do it for me. I don't care. It is what it is. Blah, blah, blah. And then it just continues to check out. Which I ain't doing. There you go. There you go. So it is what it is. I have to find out. If I buy a seat, yeah, with what? Accidentally. So yeah. I'm a bit clueless, innit? Quickly follow this up. But yeah, maybe someone else can do it and let me know. Someone else can go to the O2 website and they just tell me where to go or send me the link and I'll go to the link. Tell me, sorry. Damien P, I apologise. I can't click on the blue seats. I can't. This is just a thing. And I'm not even sure these are all available anyway. I'm sure they're not. I'm sure not all these sections are available. So somebody is what it is. Righty-ho. Righty-ho. Has anybody got anything else to say? So going back to that anyway. As it stood, right, 2 days ago on the 1st of March, right, as it stood, these are the sections in which you could buy tickets. So, like I said before, it is what it is. These are the areas in which you could buy tickets. So, Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Right. What do you guys think? Some people are saying that they think this is down to DAZN. They're blaming the DAZN thing. They're saying that basically because Anthony Joshua's fighting on DAZN don't really promote their fights as effectively as how he was promoted when he was on Sky Sports. We'll have to wait and see what happens on fight night. Like I said before, ticket sales don't make him any more or less of a fighter, but I did think this was very, very interesting. Because I think, normally for Anthony Joshua fights, he sells out in XYZ seconds. So if you see some of the comments here, I wonder if the fact that it's on DAZN has anything to do with it. You'd assume the vast majority of punters who attend AJ fights are casual sports fans, and maybe without Sky behind the promotion, most of the target audience are not even aware he is fighting. Let's have a look. This guy says, so it doesn't really matter because the fight's in a month's time. And this dude says it's in a month's time, but probably 70 to 80% of the tickets for apparently the biggest name in boxing is still available. So it was what it is. Oh, Damien P is screen recorded it. Well, fucking, I ain't got time for that, Damien P. Fucking hell. Just take your word for it, Damien. You give me a number, Damien. You tell me how much is available as a percentage and we'll take it. Nah, it's all right, Damien. Just tell me. I'll take your word for it. You tell me the percentage, Damien, and I'll thing. Boxing Barry says, just check the tickets, Ultra. Looks like they've turned off the option to choose your seat, and you'll simply get the best available. Okay, that's probably why I can't do it. Right. Okay, there you go. That's probably why. Well, can I ask you guys a question? What does the blue seats mean? Do you think the blue seats still means that they're available? their seats available and all this? I don't really care, but it is what it is. It is what it is. I mean, you do wonder, don't you? Anthony Joshua financially is doing fine anyway, isn't he? Because he's getting a massive bag from DAZN either way, isn't he? So Anthony Joshua's doing absolutely fine, and more power to him. I just thought it was very, very interesting that this has come up. Like I said, very, very interesting that we're seeing tweets like this. Genuinely, like Anthony Joshua of all people, I have to say, when I found out that as of March the 1st. Like, there were just tons of tickets still available as of March the 1st. I was just in shock because, we're just not used to that. So that's very, very interesting. L. Brook is trending in Twitter. I'm quite scared to click on this. Oh, gosh, look at this. Astrid Wet beat AJ Brunker. So Astrid Wet is now the Misfits champion. Astrid Wet overcomes AJ Bunker to set up L. Brook mega fight. Bloody hell. And they don't look anything like that. Have you seen these pictures of these women? Sorry, with all due respect, and I'm not being funny, but does Ellie Brooke look like that? Ashford Wet certainly doesn't look like that without any makeup on. So you can see there with Ellie Brooke, there's a lot of makeup going on there. There you go. Like I said, anyway, Ellie Brooke's trained by a good friend of the show, Mark Tibbs. So it is what it is. But yeah. There's a new Misfits champion. I will say one thing quickly, actually, before I go. Are you guys interested? How interested are you out of 10 in Katie Taylor and Chantel Cameron? Just out of 10. We'll do a quick rundown of this, of what's up next. We'll go to the Matchroom website. We always go to the Matchroom website because they keep telling me that Matchroom is the home of world-class boxing, right? Matchroom is by far the best promoters in the country. We've had a couple of cancellations down at Matchroom, so let's go through these cancellations very quickly. Unfortunately. In fact, let's go to the DAZN schedule. Should we go to the DAZN schedule? Let's go to the DAZN schedule. Let's see if this is this has gone off the DAZN schedule. So the prices have changed again, I think, due to the massive backlash. There is some kind of deal where you can go for $19.99. Look, as you can see here, yeah, they've taken them off. So, as you can see, Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor is off. But they are saying that they're going to come up with a Katie Taylor versus Chantel Cameron fight next week. Both of them seem to be a thing. I mean, you guys know me. I'm not really the biggest fan of that kind of boxing. But it is what it is. Do you guys think that's a massive fight that you're interested in? What do you guys think about Katie Taylor versus Chantel Cameron? Undisputed versus undisputed. I've got my own opinions on how much these undisputeds I've got my own opinion on how much certain people's undisputed titles really sort of mean. given the lack of any depth and quality, yeah, in certain levels of boxing. Let's be honest with you, innit? At certain levels of boxing, right? We have a big problem, don't we, with the lack of depth, the lack of quality, and some of the people that are popping up for title shots. I think Sandy Ryan's got a world title shot after 6 fights, isn't she? Sandy Ryan, 6 fights, 1 loss. World title shot. Sandy Ryan, innit? WBO, innit? Am I right about that? Sandy Ryan, 6 fights, 1 loss. WBO world title shot. I mean, you do get some outstanding talents like Lomachenko going in for a world title on their first shot. Did Robertson Ramirez... No, I'm thinking of someone else. But Vasyl Lomachenko went for a world title, obviously, in his first fight. He was one of the greatest amateurs that's ever lived, right? But for the most part, do you know what I mean? We do seem to have a bit of a problem, don't we, with this? Like, a couple fights, world title fight. How many fights did it take Ebony Bridges to become world champion? Does somebody know? Ebony Bridges. Let me have a look at BoxRec. I think Ebony Bridges became world champion in about 6 fights or something, innit? Seems to be about 5 or 6 fights, innit? And then you fight for a world title, innit? And then you're world champion, and then you're going for undisputed or something, innit? I don't know. I'm not an expert on that kind of boxing. I could be wrong. Let me see. How long was it until Ebony Bridges had 10 fights, right? Hold on. What are these fucking box recs suck? Piss off, you tossers, man. Here we go. Ebony Bridges has had 10 fights. Who did she fight for the world title? She fought Shannon Courtney for a world title and lost, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in her 6th fight, she fought for a world title in her 6th fight. So, yeah, 5 fights and then a world title fight. It is what it is. What do you guys think? There you go. Yeah, so, I don't know, but what do you guys think? Katie Taylor and Chantel Cameron. Undisputed versus undisputed. Press 1 if you're up for this one. Are you up for this? Press 1. Eddie Hearn believes that a deal for Katie Taylor to fight Chantel Cameron could be finalised as early as next week. Let me know. Let me guys know what you think, because I don't really watch that much female boxing, so I'm not too up to date on Chantel Cameron. I'm not too up to date on how good Chantel Cameron is and things like that. So we'll have to wait and see. What else have we got? So we got some cards that have been cancelled quickly. Callum Smith is no longer on. You'll be pleased to know that Callum Smith versus Paulial Stefan is now off. Callum Smith has been forced to withdraw from his clash with Paulial Stefan next week due to injury. That's why, if you look at Matchroom's card, this is the main event next week. Diego Pacheco versus Jack Cullen. That's your main event next week. Saturday, the 11th of March, 2023. For the WBO International Super Middleweight title. Jack Cullen versus Diego Pacheco. And on the undercard, we've got Robbie Davies Jr. versus Dara Foley. We've got Johnny Fisher versus Alfonso Damiani. We've got Peter McGrail versus To Be Confirmed. We've got Rhiannon Dixon versus Vicky Wilkinson. 1-5, drawn 1. This is for the Women's Commonwealth lightweight title. Commonwealth. My mate Dean Dodge is in there with Aqib Fiaz. Campbell Hatton, Tony's favourite, will be fighting Michael Gonzi. We saw him in it. Michael Gonzi's been fighting the Legend Centers. He's now 4-2. 4-2-1. 4 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw. Michael Gonzi. Fresh out of the Legend Centre. Straight in with the undefeated cough, Campbell Hatton. George Lidard versus Daniel Prezelovic. Or Prezwelezik. And Paddy Lacey against James McCarthy. So the Zone subscribers across the world who will be now paying what, $19.99 for the month, or what do you pay? You pay 100 and something for the year. Saturday, March 11th, you'll be looking forward to Diego Pacheco versus Jack Cullen. What else are you getting in the month of March from DAZN. You're also getting, for your, what are you paying? Your 100 quid a year or something, so divide it by 12 or whatever. You're also getting a main event Saturday, the 18th of March, 2023. Cyrus Pattinson takes on Chris Jenkins. That's a main event. Cyrus Pattinson, Chris Jenkins. Undercarded by Pat McCormack versus Dario Soshi. Dario Soshi sounds like Japanese fish that I get over the counter at Waitrose for astronomically high prices, does it not? Solomon Dakares takes on Rob Ismay. I know who Rob Ismay is, and good luck to Rob Ismay. There's a very, very popular YouTube channel out there that Rob Ismay's partnered with, so some of you may know who Rob Ismay is. Listen, all the best luck to Rob Ismay in that fight, and hopefully he doesn't go the way of Steve Robinson. Hopey Price takes on Thomas Masson. 120, 7 KOs, lost 5, drawn 1. Mark Dickinson takes on Ben Ridings. Callum French takes on Jordan Ellison. Muhammad Ali is back, live on Matchroom shows. So don't complain about the price of DAZN when you're getting Muhammad Ali on these cards. He'll be fighting TBC. Muhammad Ali 1-0, KO 0, lost 0, drawn 0. He'll be in the ring with TBC. Maisie Rose Courtney will be in the ring with The Butcher. You guys have seen us Google this person before. I don't know why Matchroom can't put the photos up. Maisie Rose Courtney will be in the ring with The Butcher. She sounds vicious, you know. Butcher Erquazi, aka The Butcher. Shall I get a picture of The Butcher? This is Maisie Rose Courtney's second pro fight. That's who Maisie Rose Courtney will be fighting in a second pro fight live on DAZN. The Butcher. Like I said before, there's a bit of a depth issue there, isn't there? There's a bit of a depth issue with all due respect, innit? We've got a depth problem, innit? We've got a depth problem. Still, Maisie Rose Courtney, how many fights she had? She's had one fight. Well, she's about 4 fights away from undisputed, isn't she? 4 fights away from undisputed. Ben Marksby versus TBC and Adam Reichard versus Jafius Vowell. So this is what you'll be getting on DAZN. That's why they moved away from Sky to DAZN. Because remember, you couldn't make these fights on Sky. Yeah? Fights like this, you couldn't make on Sky. That's why that's why Matchroom had to go to DAZN. Because you need a big, big platform with billions and billions of pounds so you can make fights like this. Fights like this, you couldn't make on regular Sky because the budget was too small. What you need is a big, big backer. You need a big backer. And when you have a big backer, you get big fights. Now, Tony has done a bit of work here. Tony has said, so, I just went on the website and they turned off the ability for you to see which seats are available and which are not. I did a video on this a while back. AJ went from 70k plus to not even 20k sales. This is the nature of boxing. You lose, they quit watching. It's interesting, isn't it, Tony? We don't know. I mean, like I said before, I don't want to see the downfall of Anthony Joshua, but we can't work out if it's because AJ's... Let me just say one thing in closing about Anthony Joshua. I always said this about him, yeah? He's done incredibly well in the sport. He's a unified champion, and he's made an absolute shit ton of money, right? And he's had some big nights. So he's had an incredible career. Like, Anthony Joshua's had an incredible career, right? But I'll just say, like, when you market somebody on being a killer, right? When you market someone on being this big, indestructible, muscle-bound killer, it's very, very hard to market these guys after they get undressed. It really is hard. You know, and I hate to make up this comparison because it's a terrible comparison, but it's the same reason why in wrestling, you never really see like a Brock Lesnar get beat clean or like a Goldberg get beat clean or a Stone Cold get beat clean. Does that make sense? Even in pretend fighting, they won't even do that. In pretend fighting, because they understand, yeah, the effect when you build someone up of being this absolute killer, indestructible monster who can beat this guy, destructive type fighter. Once these guys take a loss, can be very, very hard to build them back up again. Very, very hard. Bill Goldberg was never the same in WCW after they made him take that loss to Kevin Nash. Very, very few have come back from it, right? Very, very few. And if they do roll over and get beat clean, they get beat by other legends. So Goldberg got beat by Brock Lesnar, or, you know, the Stone Cold got rolled over by The Rock. So there's a reason for that, you know. People, once you market something or somebody is indestructible and unbeatable, and they do get a loss, and not the way AJ lost against Ruiz the first time, where there were big question marks over it, but really, you know, get conclusively beaten, then it get proven that this guy's better than you, right? It's very, very hard to repackage and remarket guys like that, you know? And I do think that's the problem that Match might be having with Anthony Joshua, that it's very, very hard to repackage him. You can't package him as a killer anymore. What do you guys think? Do you think I'm wrong? If you think I'm wrong, press 1. But if you, how do you package him? How would you package AJ? The only thing you can do with Anthony Joshua is the redemption angle, isn't it? Really, with all due respect, that's the only way you can package him now, isn't it? You package him on the redemption angle, AJ's redemption. But I think with the rise of Tyson Fury, however long that will last, I do think, you know, casuals are very fickle, aren't they? That's what happens when you tap into the casual market. They are very, very fickle, and it does seem like, you know, to me, like quite a few of them have jumped ship. But maybe it's probably because they're on the zone. Boxing Classics says, got to say the Misfits main event was really good. Listen, I think that stuff's taken over. Don't know how you guys feel about that, but I do think, listen, this YouTube boxing, this Misfit stuff, get used to it, because it ain't going anywhere. You know, Tommy Fury just beat Jake Paul. You heard Frank Warren. Who's he going to fight next, Frank? He's going straight into a rematch with Jake Paul. You know, and then you get, let me quickly say this, you get all these salty, we've seen a lot of this from British boxers in the minute on Twitter. British boxers getting very, very salty at Tommy Fury. And they're saying, oh, well, Tommy Fury will never be world champion. Well, Tommy Fury will never be a world champion. Or Tommy Fury's not even British level. Yeah, he's not even British level. But what? You're not making any money. You may be British level, you may be world level, but you're not making any money. Listen, a lot of these boxers, even some of the ones that are fighting for world titles, they're not making big, big money like you guys think, man. These guys aren't making life-changing money. Tommy Fury at the minute's on the verge of making life-changing money. He was already well off, or he was already all right for money to begin with, because his brother's worth XYZ million. So he was already doing fine anyway. Now he's picked up another 3-4 million for fighting Jake Paul. He gets another rematch, going to make even more money. So it is what it is, isn't it? What's he going to do? Oh, well, Tommy Fury's not British level. Well, he doesn't have to be, does he? Why is he going to go back to fighting fucking York Hall for British titles for £2.50 and a bag of pork scratchings, where he can pay-per-view against guys who have only been boxing for 2-3 years? If you're Tommy Fury, it's a no-brainer. What do? Do I try and please the hardcore boxing fans and start fighting for pork scratchings and a fucking bag of quavers in York Hall against some fucking British champion and risk getting beaten? Or do I fight, you know, fucking YouTubers who've only been boxing for fucking 1 or 2 years and fucking stand them on their head and make 3-4 million a fight? Fucking no-brainer. And to me, you can't hate on Tommy Fury for that, can you? It's an absolute no-brainer. So you ain't going to see no more Tommy Fury at British level. What you might see with Tommy Fury is, Tommy Fury will probably stand a few YouTubers on their head, and if he keeps beating them, right, then eventually he'll probably get like a voluntary. Someone will probably give him a voluntary at a world title shot to try and make money out of it. Makes sense? That's what probably happened with Tommy Fury. Do you remember when Peter Manfredo Jr. from The Contender got a shot at Joe Calzaghe thanks to Frank Warren? That kind of deal. Do you remember that? Peter Manfredo Jr. came straight off The Contender and ended up getting a shot at Joe Calzaghe for the fucking under super, basically for the number one and all and the belts at super middleweight. Peter Manfredo, straight off The Contender. He didn't even win it. Who won The Contender? It was Sergio Mora who won The Contender, right? The first Contender was won by Sergio Mora. Peter Manfredo didn't even fucking win The Contender. He jumped straight into a title fight with Joe Calzaghe. That's what I think Tommy Fury will do. He'll stand a few of these YouTubers on their heads, make some money, and then he'll jump into a voluntary and probably get beat. But he'll make a lot of money doing it. There you go. It was Sergio Mora. There you go. But Peter was robbed. I can't remember it. All I can remember, Tony, remember that guy Ahmed. Remember that guy, Tony, on The Contender? Ahmed. Is it Ahmed? And him and Ishe Smith had beef. It's good though, isn't it? Because Ishe and Sergio went on to become world champions, man. Ishe Smith and Sergio went on to become actual world champions, man. There's Eddie Ahmed. You remember that? I am an Ahmed. Shit. The contender, man. Oh dear. The days of primetime television when it actually meant something. Alright, listen, what time is it? Guys, I apologise about tonight's show. We started off well with some good commentary with Ohara Davies, but the show has steadily been going downhill ever since. Listen, I would like to be back live for Andrew Kane on BT Sport. I am a big fan of Andrew Kane. I'm considering going live for the Andrew Kane fight, which I believe is in Stoke in 2 weeks' time on BT Sport. I think Andrew Kane's one of the best prospects in British boxing. So if we still have a YouTube channel by then, we might consider going live. If you're interested in hearing me do a live on Conor, Benn and Piers Morgan, let me know. I'm thinking about it. I'm not 100% sure about it, but I'm thinking about it. But I think we're all starting to get a bit Conor Benned out, and that's by design. Oh, actually, it will be getting announced next week that Fury's not fighting Usyk. So probably do a live for that. Next week, hopefully, if I still have a YouTube channel, it will be announced officially that it will be Fury versus Manuel Char, probably in Tottenham Arena in the middle of December in the freezing cold. Definitely won't be fucking Alexander Usyk. And let the fallout commence. Listen, we've been lording it up on this Conor Benn stuff for a while, you know. We've been lording it up on this Conor Benn stuff for a while, but when it comes out that Tyson Fury ain't fighting Usyk, woo boy. I would not want to be Frank Warren. Let me put it that way. He better go hide himself, innit? I hear rumours that Frank Warren might be having some back issues. You might not be seeing him in front of any media for the next 6 months. They're going to have to go into hiding. Because if you thought the Chisora fallout was bad, this is going to be 100 times worse. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other.